podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Because you've got powerful legs. How'd you get the physique? Was it gym or how'd you get the physique?
I've always been...
She's actually not got powerful legs. Do you shower in your dressing room? Do you have a shower on the day of a fight or not? Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
That's your knowing or mine.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him. What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing nutters messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hello everybody and welcome to the 554th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host Steve Wellings and joining me on the call we have Andy Patterson and Matty Di Gialinardo going live on YouTube from 8 o'clock every Sunday evening. The ad-free Patreon RSS feed updates shortly after the show concludes. Hello to everyone listening through the week on Spotify, Sports Social, Apple Podcasts and YouTube. Don't forget to leave a review on the podcast player of your choice throughout the entire month of January 2024. Nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable. We've made it into the new year. Who saw that coming? Happy New Year to you all. Hope you all had a nice Christmas, etc., etc. Going to be talking Beterbiev later against Callum Smith. That's coming up in Canada. Inoue going back in time. Boxing Day battered Marlon Tapales. Bit of day of reckoning chat as well. AJ-Ngannou, questions, comments, Bellew of the weeks. Throw in your shit in the chat as well if you want to. Very welcome there, Andy, and especially to you, Matty. Whenever Ismael Barroso was coming into the ring against Ohara Davis, we'll talk about that one very shortly. I got the little screenshot on the screen there, as you can see. He was doing a little prayer in the corner, as boxers tend to do, and I noticed a ghostly figure in the corner, just over to the right. You can possibly see I circled his face with blue ink. Tony Weeks was there, and I thought, my God, Barroso will be glad to see this guy in the crowd and not in the ring. Little did I know, Matty, that he was to play a part later on. He was to play his part tonight, Mr. Weeks.
Phony Weeks.
I tell you, Steve, I don't know where we're kicking this show off exactly, but Tony Weeks clearly did not resolve to become a better referee in the new year. He's like, now let's just keep this shit show on the road, man. But yeah, a couple of first-round stoppages there, Steve. One possibly deserved, one not. What a way to kick off the new year, huh?
Yeah, well, tell us about I have issues with both stoppages. I'm a bit of a savage, as you know, but even the most passive of boxing fans will say that Vergil Ortiz stopping Frederick Lawson in the first round of their supposed 12-rounder was a little bit early. What was going through Weeks' mind? Someone said that Lawson's eyes were rolling in his head. He waited 5 to 10 seconds before he protested. Seemed to me not an awful lot was landing. It was arms, it was gloves. Ortiz was on top. There's no doubt about that. He had hurt Lawson, but that was an early stoppage, Matty, surely.
I thought that was an awfully early stoppage there by Mr. Weeks. Whether he was a little bit gun-shy, whether he just was a little bit tired and wanted to get home or get to the hotel room, I don't know. But that fight could have gone on longer. I think it might have been delaying the inevitable, given that Ortiz did hurt Lawson with a jab, which is what initially sent him into the corner. But It was just I don't know. Just come to expect this from Weeks. The difference being, Lawson probably a dead man walking in this one, whereas Barroso obviously wasn't against Raleigh Romero.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the last large assignment we get to see Weeks on, because it's just getting a little too common with him. Once upon a time he wasn't one of the worst, but now he is definitely among the worst referees in boxing. Probably time to call it a day.
Yeah, I think so, Andy. Weeks has been pissing me off for a while now. They always say better too early than too late. Obviously, we agree with these kind of things. But ironically, way back in the day, one of the greatest comebacks of all time, 2005, Jose Luis Castillo against Diego Corrales. Tony Weeks was, in fact, the referee that allowed that moment to happen. Why has he become so gun-shy, Andy? How has he become such a pussy over the years?
Oh, I didn't want to comment, mate. It could be a factor of a lot of things. Maybe the bottles went. Who knows? But I think one thing we can say is that the stoppage was just BS, mate. To be fair, I mean, you said there was nothing really much landing. Lawson didn't seem to be really hurt. The only thing you could really say that Lawson did wrong was he didn't even attempt to throw back, just shelled up, and then that was it. And then Weeks just stepped in, and it was just. I mean, it does nothing for Ortiz as well, because obviously he's had his problems. He's calling it. Well, talking about a zoo fight now, but really, at this point, I mean, he needs, or at this point, Ortiz needs some sort of test. He needs to know where he's at physically. It's okay, kind of move up in weight. It's okay doing a training camp, but he needs tested. I mean, there's been how many fights did he pull out in the last 12 to 18 months? 3, 4 fights?
One round in probably what we're talking the last 30
2
months,
years.
give or take. That's a Charlo-like effort, my friends.
He pulled out against Stanionis, didn't he, because of that unpronounceable disease at least once, maybe twice. But of course, the other time the Stanionis fight didn't happen, Andy, I think Stanionis himself had his appendix removed or something.
Yeah.
So that didn't help matters.
That didn't help matters. But as I say, there has been problems. And there always seem to be on the week that Ortiz had to make the weight. So when he had to start making the cut, start making the sweat, and then that's when it started to fall apart for him. So, and the thing is as well, I mean, we all know this. Tim Tszyu, for all intents and purposes, is a killer, by the way. And you didn't want Ortiz going into a fight just off, what was that, 2 minutes? And absolutely BS stoppage to go and fight like a guy like Tim Tszyu, who's hungry, man. He wants to prove himself. Ortiz is, he had the hype, and it's just frittered away, and it's unfortunate, really. But he needs to rebuild. He needs to be tested. He needs to go rounds again.
He does. I'd like to see him against Castaño or Mendoza, Andy, specifically because of going rounds.
Well, again, I need to really think, Matty, because I obviously need to think about, he's up at 154 now. Is there any 47s going to come up? Is his days at 47 finished?
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Right, so...
Oh, he's done at 47. Castaño would be an interesting fight, but he hasn't fought in 18 months now. He hasn't fought since the Charlo rematch, so I don't know what's up with him. Mendoza's a good shout as well, Andy, but Ortiz got to have more rounds than this, man. And the fact he came in at 156 as well, this was effectively a middleweight fight, wasn't it?
Yep.
He didn't even make 154. So, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's discipline, illness. I know he's a quite abrasive, irascible kind of a character. He's not the nicest, I don't think, Ortiz. Doesn't
look great shape, to be honest with you.
No, I thought he looked a little bit fleshy, but I mean, flip me, you'd rather have him in the ring fleshy than the way he's been.
Yeah. I don't maybe get Bright Mendoza. I don't know if Gauchi's still kicking about. Maybe a Lubin type. Really test him. Give him some sort of test at least. But
well, they're not putting him with Lubin now, will they? Because he beat Ramos, and doesn't he hold some version of the titles? Or he would fancy himself for a shot at least, Lubin. I don't think he would entertain Ortiz.
Has Brian Mendoza not got one of those fake belts?
Well, he lost to Tszyu, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he had to drop that interim strap.
Oh, he had to drop that, didn't he? Yeah, that's right.
I like him as the opponent because he has shown to be so durable. I mean, and I think we really need some more rounds from Ortiz before he gets a title opportunity.
If you face him in the Eurobums, Kurbanov would give him rounds probably. Jack Kolkai would give him rounds.
They're doing, I think they're doing Kurbanov against Madrimov.
Yes, that's right. They are, yeah. So that should be decent.
Madrimov, aye. So Sorrow, the French boys, kicking about 54. I've seen Austin Trout had a fight recently in Europe. It's an 8-rounder, I'm sure he had. couple of fights here he could get rounds against. I think that's what he needs at this point to see where he's at. I mean, if he's intending to jump from fighting like that he did last night against Tim Tszyu, I tell you what, I'd be able if the bookie, I'd be checking that one and see the bookie's got the stoppage wrong on that one, like, because it's a serious ask for Ortiz to step up at this point.
Mm-hmm. Des has jumped in the call. Des, what are you thinking about last night? Ortiz against Lawson and moving forward?
I think Ortiz is always going to win it. He was a better fighter of the two, but I agree with what I think Andy or Matty said. Ortiz needed rounds. But to go back to the Tony Weeks stoppage, I don't want to get pelters here, but I always look at what the referee must have seen. So we saw Lawson get buzzed from a jab. There was 15 to 20 punches unanswered. And just before Weeks stepped in, he sagged. I think it was an early stoppage, but I don't think Lawson gave the referee a lot of choice. I don't think Lawson helped himself.
Mm-hmm. He didn't do himself any favours, basically, in that position, especially shelling up and not trying to hold on or throw back at least.
You do something, you claim him, you throw back, you get out of there. But I don't know, he just seemed to be stiffened. And I just always think when a referee makes a call like that, and Weeks has got form, what did he see that maybe we didn't? Look, I'm not condoning a stoppage. I thought it was premature. Don't misunderstand me. But I was disappointed in Lawson because he would have been told going in, Weeks has got form for this. And he gave Weeks every opportunity.
Barroso on the card. Fucking, it's right there in front of you. This can happen, man. This can happen.
Yeah, exactly my point. He would have known going, Steve, we've all been there, whether it's a referee of a football match or a referee of a boxing match or a rugby match, you're briefed in the change room what he's like. It was peculiar for me why he didn't answer 15 to 20 punches, why he sagged towards the end, but you know.
I think as well, there's different styles of refereeing. Weeks looked to me, his body language reminded me at times a little bit of Ian John Lewis. I remember Ian John Lewis stopping Paul McCluskey against DeMarcus Corley in Belfast about 12, 13 years ago. And Lewis hovered and he jumped in and he almost looked a little bit sorry, as if to like, why didn't you show me something? I don't know if I made the right decision. I've jumped in now. There's nothing I can do. Some referees even hover and they will like wave their hands. I can't think of the guy off the top of my head, but he'd wave his hand and go, show me something, or throw back. You know, he's like basically trying to tell the fellow on the ropes, even though that's his job, look, I'm going to stop this if you're not careful. Maybe that sort of little intervening action could have helped out Lawson, possibly.
And you'd have thought, to pick up Matty's point, Barroso's on the card. We know what this guy does. You'd have thought his trainer would have had a briefing with him in the change room. Don't give this referee any opportunity to get you out of there. So it was peculiar. I didn't like the stoppage. I've got to say that. I didn't like it. But I'm a bit disappointed with the fighter for giving a referee the opportunity to pull him out.
Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, Ortiz was calling out Tim Tszyu. Oscar De La Hoya as well was saying he'll go over to Australia for it. I mean, he needs more rounds, Ortiz. But at the end of the day, he's a fighter. If he's back, he's in shape, he's back in the gym and he can make the weight. If they were to make that Tszyu fight next, I don't think I would necessarily complain. If he feels he's ready and Tszyu feels he's ready, then let's go.
Well, he was Ortiz was 156 weighing in for yesterday, and so he's probably well north of 160 going into the ring. So he's definitely not a welterweight anymore. Do I think he's ready for Tim Tszyu just yet? I think Tim Tszyu's a bit too hot. I think Ortiz needs rounds, which is to come back to the point the lads mentioned. A 90-second stoppage didn't help Ortiz last night. Would I put Ortiz into that one yet? Probably not. I'd give him another outing. Who's the two lads up at light middle that you mentioned? Mendoza and
oh God, who was it? Castaño. Yeah.
So something like that would give him 8 to 10 rounds. Maybe go to, I think that's what he needs before you go into a Tszyu fight. But we all want to see more of Tim Tszyu, and we want to see more of Tim Tszyu at a level. So I'd always welcome a Tim Tszyu fight. But if it's going to be competitive and if we're going to get the best Ortiz, I think he needs another tune-up.
Des, just in case we lose you, what about, we'll transition on to the fight on the undercard, Ohara Davis against Ismael Barroso. Davis had the physical advantages, I felt. Nice long jab. He's always a bit of a slow starter. Not sure why they told him to come out and be aggressive, put it on the older man. I could understand the theories, but we remember back in the Josh Taylor fight, Ohara has always struggled to get out the way of a big left hand. You would have thought he'd been better off tucking up behind the jab for the first 2 or 3 rounds, having a look, feel the power, and work his way into the fight from there. That aggressive start didn't suit him. He got caught coming out.
Well, you nailed it, Steve. And I can't help but feel really disappointed for Ohara, because if you look at the 140 division, outside of the top guys, if you was told you've got to go away from home, you've got to fight for an interim title on a new promoted show, I think Ishmael Barroso is the one you'd pick. And that's not to say that he's a walkover. That's not to say that he's a knockover job. And I'm not saying Ohara's got any type of body of work to stand on. But I remember watching Barroso against Anthony Crolla nearly 8 years ago. And I remember commenting he was an old man then. And Crolla stopped him in 7. And since then, he's had a very medium active career. He's been beaten a few times. He's not pulled up any trees. He's a solid mid-card guy. He's a world-class puncher. He's a fringe world-class guy. But he's someone that Ohara, if you get your strategies right, your O'Hara's size, his age, and that horrible style Ohara Davis has got, you're right. He should have gone out there, had a good look at him for 3 or 4 rounds, get a good lead up, and then find his way into the fight. He done the complete opposite. He was naive. I think there's a lot of inexperience in that group, and it really cost Ohara.
Mm-hmm. Matty, not many people will feel sorry for Ohara, but I mean, tell you what, he lost to Cattrall in October 2018. This is a good 5 years later. He's had about 9-10 wins on the road there to Tyrone McKenna, and you've got Logan Yoon. I remember it was that golden contract as well. Going to fight Lewis Ritson, supposed to fight Barroso before, the visa problems and all. He has worked his way back into contention. It just goes to show the tough life of a boxer, and then he gets absolutely iced in under 3 minutes, man. And now his career's back on Skid Row. You got to feel slightly sorry for him, Matty.
Well, I guess in the sense that, as you know, the time has proven, time and time again, it's been proven for him now, is that he's just outside of title level. That's just where he is. He's, probably, definitely a British champion level, probably European champion, obviously, but just a little bit shy of that world-class level. And you got to give it to the old man Barroso. Something I noticed, Steve, I don't know if you picked up on this, but the size of that guy's biceps. I mean, he's a big man for the weight. He's physically imposing. And about 20 seconds into the fight, Barroso landed just kind of a cuffing left hand, not anywhere clean or anything like that. And it visibly moved Davies back. So this guy, he is just a physically big, tough, hard punching SOB. And you got to give it to him. Real quick victory for him. He's back in the title picture. Davies kind of knows where he's at now, and Barroso probably is just outside of that too. They're probably sitting in the same kind of place.
Josh Taylor put him in his place, baby. He told him what position he was at, and Barroso just put him back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
So, but it was a good job on Barroso's part. I know you weren't exactly keen on the stoppage, Steve, but every time that he touched Davies, he was moving him. So I don't think that was going to go any further. And there was a whole lot more to choose from than the Ortiz fight there. It was quite the performance by Barroso there. He's a heck of an interesting fighter. The shrunken head that he is, he kind of looks like Mussolini with hair. He looks like the kind of guy that
more vicious.
Looks like the kind of guy that you might get like an Amazonian ayahuasca ceremony from. He looks like the old grandpa that would tell you what it was like when the fascist rebels came into his communist country. But anyways, interesting guy, great fighter for what he's worth. I mean, he doesn't fight often enough, shamefully, but Barroso, just one of those characters in boxing. Him and his big fucking ears and his big left hand. You gotta love him.
Mm-hmm. Andy, talk to me about the stoppage. We were talking about this off air. Davis against Barroso. He got badly hurt. He got dropped twice. He wasn't in a good place. We all know that. It was a eliminator, interim title, whatever the hell it was. The referee said to him, "Look at me." He looked at him. He says, "Put your hands up." His hands went straight up to his head. "Look at me." Looked at him again. Then he waved it off.
I mean, responded to him as well, didn't he? I'm sure Davis responded to him.
Yeah.
That's a winner from Joe Kennedy right there, Steve. Barroso looks like a fair trade coffee farmer. that almost makes up. That almost makes up for him convincing me instead of just betting Barroso to bet Barroso by decision. That almost makes up for it, Joe. Almost.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, so he's, as I say, I mean, the referee's staring right at his eyes. I mean, that's the one thing he does. He's keeping his eye on him at all times. He's asking the questions. You say it ran exactly how you said it went. I can only assume that he just was not fully focused, and the eyes were darting all over the place. And as I say, it's obviously from the camera angle that I seen, you wouldn't really get a good look at his eyes. You know, you see the angle from behind the referee. You see him verbally answering back to the ref, and the ref is constantly looking at him. It's got to be something to do with the eyes. It says it harps back to the time about the Howard Foster stoppage by George Groves and Carol Froch. He was gone apparently. The eyes were gone. If you look at him after the first knockdown, you know, even the second one as well, he is not steady. You know, he's kind of rocking. He's
hurt. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, even after when he got clipped with that first left hand and he went right into the ropes, he's all over the place. But he probably deserved maybe to kind of get knocked out just to kind of see if he could, you know, smell his two noses again. I don't know, but it was
Paul after Andy says he nodded, but his eyes said "save me." He didn't want to quit, but was bollocks. That's probably
probably
about right.
Mate, probably about right. And at the end of the day, Barroso, man, what is he? 40 now, 41, aging on the pick. Looks like
I think he's 42, Andy.
He looks like he's 62 anyway. So fair play to him. I just hope if he gets he deserves the Romero rematch without doubt. But if he gets it, I just hope he does himself justice and doesn't get like a bullshit stoppage like that and get phony weeks in the middle. For example, you know, a guy's going to give him every chance because it was bullshit the last fight as well, wasn't it? He deserved to win.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can come out and they can put Romero to the sword for, you know, finally get it done right.
You know, one of the reasons Barroso is so tough, Steve, is because he's so old. He was part of the crew that that took care of the bodies at Jonestown.
You've been writing all these down, haven't you, this afternoon? Maybe not. Andy,
God, I hit a button. I was gonna say it's better. My memory's better than it should be than it is for social media. You know, I got to give myself credit at times.
A few of the boys, Andy, are saying in the chat, which is rightfully so, he was hurt, he was dazed, but there's different levels to being hurt and dazed, isn't there? We've seen people. I remember Amir Khan, wasn't it, against Garcia? He's flipping going all over the shop, and they still let it carry on. There's different levels to being hurt and dazed.
What about Amir Khan against Marcos Maidana?
Yeah.
Literally
that 10th round, that 10th.
He's literally teetering on the brink of disaster, and this is what the whole thing is about. This is what boxing is about. At the end of the day, you get hurt, and you're meant to turn it around about by hook or by crook. You date by Castillo method, or you date the Ali way, or you just fucking pull it right out of the bag. I don't know what people fucking are actually wanting at the end of the day, but you got to let these guys bang it out. I mean, this was like a chance. You know, this was like big money at the end of this, possibly. I mean, I dare say that Romero fight will be taking prime time slot somewhere along the line.
This fight was to fight Ryan Garcia in the middle of 2025 at this rate.
See, he's belching on fights now.
Yeah, I've got that next. I was going to say quickly, Andy, before it goes out of my head, I know that he wasn't hurt as badly as Ohara, but do you remember Juan Manuel Marquez was dropped 3 times with Pacquiao?
Against Pacquiao,
went on to become a draw. What I'm saying is the chances are Davis would have got stopped, right? That is probably what was going to happen. But he could have held on. All of a sudden, a few swings, Barroso tires, Davis makes it till the end of the round. He's hurt. He gets through the second round. All of a sudden, you're into the third and the fourth, and we go back half an hour later to those highlights and say, "Flip me, done well to get out that first round," and it ended up to the cards. Obviously, this is all hypothetical bollocks, but I'm just saying, man. I just think that they could have just let him carry on.
I just think.
Do you think world-class fighters, recognised fighters, have got credit in the bank with referees?
Quite possibly.
I just think the difference is he just every shot that Barroso landed physically moved Davies, and you had to notice that. At some point, you just have to look and see like he can't stand up to what this guy is
caught cold. I think he's caught cold.
Possibly, and you don't always come out from that.
You saw the second that punch landed was the instant reaction. He never recovered from it, as I say as well. Once he got up and he's trying to listen to the referee take his instructions, he's swaying. I don't know if it's by purpose, maybe trying to feel his legs back. I don't know, but he just did not seem focused. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
He was not focused on the
certainly-
referee enough to take on those instructions and say, I'm ready to go.
The way Ohara approached that fight didn't help himself either. I mean, he would have been briefed in the changing room. This guy can punch with both hands. He's a world-class puncher. He's only got to hit you around the back of the ear or on the temple. So just have a wide stance, keep him at the end of your jab, and don't give nothing away early. Don't give nothing away.
He's got to have seen Crawler fight this dude twice as well. That's what I'm saying. He's fought twice in the UK, so he's got to have seen him.
He's fought twice.
Wasn't that when Obama was president?
and the shot that Barroso dropped Ohara with initially, Ohara had just been caught with that same shot about 20 seconds prior. He was fighting on the front foot, leaning forward, missing with a right hand lead. It was almost like he was out of his depth, or he was a bit shell shocked, or Steve made the point he was definitely caught cold. But something that we might want to touch on, I didn't see any recognised faces or names in O'Hara's team.
Yeah, I thought that too. I looked at his trainer and I didn't know who he was, Des, yeah.
Right, and I'm not here to bash people, and I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus, and I want everyone to get on. But when you're fighting in America for an or a version of a world title, however you want to phrase it, you need some sort of experience in that group. Not making weight or getting you fit, because that's done by your trainer. That's pretty easy. But you need someone in that last week of camp to make sure that liberties ain't taken, make sure that you don't do things wrong, or make sure people don't step on your toes, make sure that on fight night, on the day of the fight, everything's how it should be, and you're completely remote from any problems that might occur, so that when you get in that ring, you're the best version of you. But I didn't see any experience in that group. And, you talk about guys like Ben Davison. When he had the big Fury and Wilder fight, he brought in a Freddie Roach and a Ricky Hatton. We've seen James Cook come into corners for Tundi. We've seen Chris Sanagar come into corners for British title fights. Who else have we seen recently? There's always going to be Shane McGuigan always brings in a Jimmy Tibbs, or used to, and then before that it was Jerry Story. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, why did they go out there in such a big fight for such a big opportunity in a fight that I always think was winnable, with absolutely no experience in their team?
Well, they went out with no experience in the team. They went out before and there was visa problems. He didn't learn, as you said, from the first left hand that nearly landed, because the same punch then caught him and hurt him. And then he didn't show enough to the referee or have enough experience to get through the count. It's a low IQ performance, Andy, all over, I think.
True, but I also believe, I believe, like also like what Des is saying there, it's coming down to money at the end of the day. He's made cutbacks. I mean, I don't know how much the last camp would have cost him, because obviously the fight got postponed.
It took him 5 years to get to this point, Andy. If you can't spend now,
but he was meant to have that fight like 6 weeks previously.
Yeah,
so what's he done there in terms of finances, training camp, sparring partners, having a team involved? Maybe even had the flights and hotel booked and got denied at the last minute. So he decided, right, okay, this time around I need to make. And everybody's doing it. Doesn't matter what realm you're in, everybody's making cutbacks. So
I think he spent too much over Christmas.
Well, yeah, that mate. Or he's had to pay for his two noses to get replaced.
Michael
McAwee.
Go ahead,
No, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I was just going to say quickly, Michael McAwee thrown in a tenner. He says £10 for Ohara, the most unliked fighter until Eddie chucked him under the bus for fear of Liverpool and the Smith brothers. Go ahead there, Des.
No, but also there's something else I didn't like. I always look at the psychology of a fighter and what makes him tick. Last week, Ohara was putting up tweets, from Hackney to Las Vegas, and he's got a picture of him in the hotel foyer, almost like I've achieved it, I've arrived. And then last night, he was putting up pictures of him with Oscar De La Hoya, and I've come for a long way, and I'm now in Vegas. And sometimes you need that experienced head to pull him to one side and say, put your phone down. You ain't won nothing yet. Just being here isn't the achievement. Go and win the fight. Then we'll take all the photos you want and you can throw out all the slogans you like. But as it is, you've not won nothing until you beat this kid. And I just get the impression that, and I might be wrong, but for Ohara and that inexperienced team, just being out there, just being involved with Oscar De La Hoya, that might have been enough.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, Des, because Michael Thompson put something there. He said, I'm not really a fan of his, but how embarrassing for OD on his US debut for Golden Boy. You're right. DAZN was sort of building up beforehand. Oh, the Oscar's just signed Ohara Davis. He's a brand new signing, and they were interviewing him. And if he wins tonight, he's going to go on and fight for this. It felt like it had all been worked out already. And sort of, and you say something and then you feel like you've achieved it before you actually have. I think you're right. You put the phone down, get on with it. I think they'd maybe cashed in their check before, I can't finish that analogy, but you get what I'm saying here.
But can you see how an older head, look, there's a place for new bodies, for new intellect, there's a place for young minds. I'm not saying there's not. But can you see when you get an opportunity like that, when you're in a foreign country fighting for a new promoter against a world-class puncher who's been around, you need experience in that group. And things like having your picture taken and talking about, I'm here in Vegas, what an achievement, and I'm now boxing for one of my heroes. I kind of think you might be taking your eye off the ball here because the job is to beat this kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Michael Thompson again, before we come to Joe, he says, thought the same for Sonny on his last fight week, spent most of his time on Twitter arguing constantly. No arguing from Joe. He's jumped on the call. The Rick Glazer Appreciation Society. Good evening, Joe. How are you? All right, not too bad.
Mate.
What are you thinking?
I quite enjoyed staying up last night to watch the Davies Barroso fight. I think that you guys covered it pretty well, but even just his whole attitude going into the fight, he just looked so unfocused. He was speaking backstage in an interview not too long before the fight, getting a Spanish on with Beto, and he was just like, clearly enjoying the moment, but I think his head was probably in the wrong space. He wasn't ready for a fight, and just threw like two really amateurish right hands like we picked up on. And yeah, it's the wrong person you want to do that to, because Barroso's the big puncher he is. He just capitalised. He only needs one shot.
Yeah, he does. I think he overreached and he got caught coming the way out. As for Barroso, I'm not really sure where he's going to go next. But Ryan Garcia here, Joe, put this message out, as Andy alluded to earlier. He said, I've notified my team I'm going a different route. Obviously, the original route was supposed to be Devin Haney. My intent now is to fight Rolando Romero. I pray my team backs me on this decision. Little dig at Oscar, no doubt. Oscar make this fight happen. That's the move. Bigger fight. Bigger business, Joe, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely an easier fight for him to win. I wouldn't fancy his chances against Devin Haney. I think Haney would have too much from off the jab. It would I think he'd make Ryan look pretty amateurish. But I think they've had a few fights though in the amateurs back in the day as well. So it would be kind of interesting having that angle. And I think that fight will probably be there as well. If it doesn't happen now, fair enough. The Roddy fight will be fun at least. I can see Roddy get sparked, but I can see him maybe hitting Garcia along the way as well. We know that Garcia has bad tendencies himself. He leaves the chin in the air. So, yeah, maybe Romero would be the one to land like a big overhand right that's kind of been crying out for his whole career, really.
Yeah, both of them with their chin in the air. Someone's getting sparked.
Yeah, that's a fun fight. So I wouldn't be too mad at it. I think Garcia is one of these guys who's just going to plant his own career, really. He's maybe not going to go a traditional route. He's kind of got his own following on social media and the rest of it that you can kind of plot his own way without maybe. I think he's going to be gone out of Oscar stable pretty soon. So, I'll be interested to see what he does in the future. I think he's probably going to have a few social media fights, that kind of stuff as well, because of his backing. I'm not sure he's really been welcomed in by the hardcores and the old school kind of boxing fans. I think his image and his following is more along the social media and younger crowd.
Yeah, Andy, whenever they were talking about the Haney fight, I would have been happy to see that because it kind of clears the fog a little bit. We get someone out the way, probably Garcia. Haney moves on. He's taken that scalp. We've already seen Gervonta Davis beating Garcia. I don't think Ryan would have beaten Haney. I think apart from the speed, the left hook, he's definitely got the power. But Haney's just maturing into a really nice fighter, which we saw against Prograis. Maybe Garcia's realised this. The fight against Romero is a lot more winnable, probably by knockout. He's probably just taking stock after Duarte and saying, you know what, I maybe don't need to just jump into the Haney fight just so quickly, even though that's not the right move for the fans, probably for his career, getting another fight out the way, getting rid of Oscar, then he can negotiate with Haney on his own. Kind of makes sense, really.
Yeah, it does make sense, I suppose, but also there is a wee bit of risk with Romero. You just don't know, with his unorthodox style, you just don't know. He could catch Garcia with something, but And I totally understand if he's wanting his body swerve Haney. I said that after the Prograis fight. Haney's just, with that move up in weight, you can literally physically see the difference in him, by the way. It's going to be beneficial to him going up. I think he even weighed potentially near middleweight after 24-hour rehydration. Garcia is going to have major issues with him because Haney's just with that extra poundage and that, it's just refreshed him. It makes him look far, far better than what he was at lightweight. There's not much holding, at least. So it's probably as the wiser move. But I wouldn't say as well Romero is a safer option, to be fair, because as I say, if I wasn't impressed with Garcia's last fight, and I say if he is sloppy, does defense is a bit leaky. Romero is unorthodox and he could catch him with something. So no, a gimme fight, to be honest with you.
It could be pretty decent, though. Could be pretty decent. Hamed says Steve Wellings is like Eddie Hearn. Yep, I often think that as well, to be honest with you.
Steve, can I quickly mention the boxing from last weekend? I know
absolutely.
The big Vito Mielnicki show in Prudential Center in Newark.
Yes.
It was pretty poor. Well, if you were sitting at home trying to watch the show, it'd be pretty poor fare because the Vito was the main event, but PBC at the last minute struck him from the PB pay-per-view and weren't letting him fight on the pay-per-view, so they only would have caught the undercard. But on that undercard feature, what's your man's name? Cornflake Lamanna.
Thomas Lamanna, yes.
Yeah, he was in a really fun fight, and it was a kind of a fun small hall show. It wasn't TV cameras there. Everyone was there to see the boxing, so it had a kind of different feel to it. Obviously, much cheaper tickets, but good night all around. Cornflake Lamanna brought it for sure. A couple of other local Jersey fighters. But it was good fun. It's something I'd recommend for anyone listening if they have a local small hall show going on and they're not sure about whether to go to it or not. Definitely do. It's a lot of fun, even if the guys you're watching aren't household names. It's just good to get out there and see some action.
Oh yeah, I love a bit of a Cornflake Lamanna reference. Do you think he would put up a good fight against Vergil Ortiz, Joe? Maybe he could be the person we need to take him those rounds, although maybe on previous form, maybe not.
He'd be pure milk to Cornflake, to Cornflake, he'd be soggy after a couple of rounds. Cornflake was fun though. He's a real walk forward, throw a lot of shots, stand in range, but give one to take two or give that kind of style. But he's I'll be seeing where he goes next, but I don't think he's going to be very far. But he's a fun fighter to watch. I think I'd love to see him in with like a B-level British guy, Zach Chelly or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think guys like Cornflake, whenever they're evenly matched, they will put up a good fight. And he has the strategy off, doesn't he? His family apparently subsidise a lot of these shows. He gets 4 or 5 wins under his belt. He comes back, he fights on TV, gets paid well, loses, gets knocked out usually, and then he goes back down to that club scene. Some people just like doing that.
Yeah, I think he just likes the life. Yeah, exactly. He's got people shouting stuff like "Go on, Flake!" in the crowd. It's easy to get behind.
Peter Manfredo was pretty similar in that regard, Steve.
Yes, Peter Manfredo. That's a good shout. Yeah, good fighter. Anyway, you are listening to episode 554, the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. Joe's on the call here with Des, Matty, Andy, and me, Steve. Matty, let's tidy up the rest of the DAZN undercard. Raul Curiel, he's only had 13 fights since he turned pro. He was a 2016 Olympian, so kind of needs to get a move on. He's got a child as well, so his life's officially over.
One fight in 2022, one fight in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. Needs to get a move on. Forte Elias Diaz, who's an accountant. Diaz was doing a pretty good job with the jab early on. Then he got his eye closed. He got beaten up. You can see where the talent is for Curiel, but he needs to get a bit more active in and out of the ring. And then Arnold Barbosa Jr., kind of like this guy. I don't know why, but he's had a lot of fights. He's been ducked a lot. People don't want to fight him. He doesn't do anything spectacular. He's not the fastest. He's not the hardest puncher. He's not the most skillful, but he just seems to grind guys down. And Teofimo Lopez didn't fancy him for whatever reason. I'm not saying Lopez was necessarily ducking him. I think he would have beaten Barbosa, but he didn't want to fight this guy. He went in against Zolisani Undon Janey, who fought Devin Haney, I think, a while back, and got knocked out in the past. Barbosa knocked him out as well, the corner, I think, retiring that one in the end. What did you think of all that action, Matty?
Yeah, Barbosa looked pretty good. I think if there's anything that he does well, Steve, it's that he puts his punches together and he oftentimes throws them from a little bit of funky angles so you don't expect. He's pretty fluid, but sometimes he'll step over himself. He's definitely going to find himself caught by a big puncher one of these days. But until that happens, he's definitely, a title worthy of a title opportunity, I think. And for Ngannou, it's just a bad style matchup for him. And you kind of worry because I thought they could have pulled the plug a little bit earlier. It was one of those fights where the guy wasn't a big enough puncher to necessarily really put him away. So he just absorbed more and more shots. So I hopefully he's okay. Definitely a tough guy, not an ounce of quitting him. But Barbosa, a nice little fight for him with his first one with Golden Boy Promotions. They also announced that they have Jose Ramirez signed, so maybe that's a fight that's in the works coming down the road. So we'll see. Golden Boy does have a decent amount of talent around 140, including some of the titleists. Well, between them and DAZN, that is, or excuse me, them and Matchroom.
Them and Matchroom, yeah, exactly. Andy, just final one to you. The card overall, I thought the fights were quite uncompetitive, not necessarily down to Golden Boy or the matchmaker. They did try on paper, they were okay. DAZN got the skeleton crew in, Corey Erdman, Gabe Rosado in a t-shirt. It all felt a little bit small hall. Jose Ramirez was there, as Matty mentioned. Apparently he turned down $2 million to fight Teofimo Lopez. They might put him in against Barbosa, and a bit of a strange fighter, isn't he, Ramirez?
Ramirez. What was Ramirez, mate? Oh, that's
Josh Taylor before, do you remember?
Aye. He's heavily in his activism and working in the fields, not that
yeah,
stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
I get what you mean. I think it was held in some sort of ballroom, hotel room, or whatever it was. But it was okay to kick off the year, I suppose. Nothing major. Obviously, it'll pick up next week in the coming weeks and that as well. I forgot as well. It's only 5 weeks apparently until usually against Fury, and I'm surprised as to how quiet it's been. You've noticed that?
Good point, actually. Yeah, didn't realise it was so quick.
Yeah, as I say, I think that to me anyway speaks volumes as to how Fury's usually out and about and he's jiving about and he's talking bollocks and that. Nothing. It's zero dark 30 just now for Team Fury and that. So that just proves what Ioka was saying today, and that he's approaching the Ngannou fight completely different as to how he's going to approach a Ioka fight. So he's taking this one definitely seriously. Like. But I just say it'll pick up the next 2 or 3 weeks, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, I think it will. I think the schedule is pretty decent. On the heavyweight scene, we had Gergen Hovhannissian, Big Gug, went to 5-0. He's 280 pounds, trained by Joe Goosen. He beat Colby Madison in the 5th round in Tacoma, Washington. It was a good finish. His hands are pretty quick for a big guy. He's a bit of a character as well. He's been on PBC undercards in the past, so no doubt they'll bring him back as well. Big Gug. Des has left us for now, but I want to bring in Joe just quickly on this one as well, because we've had our say on the day of reckoning. We had a few questions come in over the Christmas period, but obviously there was no show, so I wasn't able to read them out. My God, don't know how I'm going to be able to read this out. I'll have to get my glasses on. Thomas Smith sent in a message on the Saudi heavyweights. He said, Merry Christmas, fellas. Merry Christmas to you as well, Thomas. You're a bit late, but we'll get there. Main thoughts from last night. He said, is Wilder shot? He looked flat and disinterested. I'm sure he still has the power, but has the passion left him? He's referring, of course, to the Joseph Parker fight. He also said, has there ever been that big a difference between AJ and Fury? I know triangular analysis is fraught with problems, but does the demolition of Wallin and Wilder bring Fury's legacy into question? He also says, is Dubois a contender again after a thoroughly enjoyable matchup with Miller? DDD did well to keep his composure and box like he did on the back foot. I get the feeling the relentless pressure of the behemoth must have been what it was like to be at Starlet in Weinstein's office a few years back. Okay, I hadn't read this one before. Interesting analysis. Also, he says, Opetaia is the real deal. Moving on. Though levels above Zorro here, surely no one in the UK could handle him at his best. Makhmudov is a big stiff idiot. Also, Bivol aside, who would you like to see last night's winners fight next? I think I've asked you about 12 questions there, Joe, so feel free to pick up on any of those points.
I think I can handle the first 2 in one go, which I always like to start, right? You can chop this list up like that. But I've actually been questioning myself Fury's legacy and the fact that himself and Wilder have kind of built their own legacy fighting each other outside of outside of them. There's not much of an elite win between them. And their legacy has taken a battering by, their own bad performances. First, Fury's against Ngannou's, and then, which was almost like a loss because it was expected just to blast through this guy.
Yeah, your opponent's record is 0-0, and you're the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. We might have expectations.
Yeah, Pete Radeberger got knocked out, didn't he, by Floyd Patterson?
That's right.
So he should have been like that. That should have been dealt with. But I think then Wilder's obviously performance against Parker was just much more, devastating, I guess. And yeah, I think whether he's shot, whether Fury's legacy's in bits. Yeah, yet at the moment it feels like that. And you're wondering for Wilder, certainly, where does he go from here? He needs a good win, but you'd be worried about putting him in with anyone halfway decent,
They were saying in the chat something about rumors of him Wilder versus Zhang.
Zhang, I think that's a terrible fight for him, man.
I think Zhang would beat him, yeah. Yeah, I think Zhang would be a lot of problems for himself, and most heavyweights in the division, I think, would have big issues with Zhang. But yeah, I think I'm not sure about all about it. I think Fury definitely has a good performance against Usyk, but at the moment I'm swaying towards Usyk in that fight. So if that happens, then his legacy's really in the mud. He'll just be seen as a guy who didn't beat much until he beat Wilder, who himself was a fraud, and then
the Klitschko win is a hell of a win, though. Klitschko's streak he was on.
Yeah, he was on an age as well. Klitschko, I know he had a good performance against AJ after that, but I don't know, it's not a prime Klitschko, and it was also a dirt fight as well. It wasn't exactly going out there and it was more like a grab and run title fight than going there and knocking out or really putting it on a champion. He hardly landed many flush shots in that fight.
I just kept Klitschko's work rate down.
Klitschko looked confused at the end of the fight, not hurt. It wasn't like he was busted up. I didn't think, but yeah, I think what were the other questions then? There was one about Bivol, was there? Or
yeah, feel free to just touch up on anything the day of reckoning. I mean, did it meet your expectations? Was it mismatches? Were you happy to just see them all in one place? Was the atmosphere class, as Frank Warren suggested?
It was. It was great to see everyone involved in the same card. And then I was a bit disappointed, obviously, with Wall and my boy Otto. He didn't have a good performance on the night. So I was, expecting better things of him. That he didn't really turn up. I didn't think that Wilder certainly didn't turn up, but I think in hindsight it's a great thing, but it just seemed so easy the way Parker was doing. He wasn't doing that extraordinary to give Wilder major troubles, to not let him set his feet and land the big right hand. It seems so easy in retrospect, and you're thinking, geez, there's probably 10 or 15 heavyweights who could do this to Wilder. I think that the Bivol fight was a bit disappointing. That's what Bivol does. I definitely wasn't going to bet on him to get the stoppage. He's just a death tax and Bivol points, But I think the only fight really for him next is the Beterbiev fight, and apparently the Saudis are pretty hot on that. So I'll take whatever has to come before that to get that fight, because I think that's a really good fight. Really.
Do you think he should have put his foot down, as our friend Eamon suggested on the Inoue call, Joe, and got rid of Lyndon Arthur and stopped pissing about?
I'm in Dez's corner. I think he's just not in his. I think it was Dez who was making the point in that call. It's just not in his type. He's been trained at such a young level, at such a young age, to go fight a certain way. That it's anathema to actually go and put the foot down. It's just not going to happen. He's just. He doesn't see the point in it. He's just going to get to the end of the race. Doesn't matter how fast he gets there. An early night does nothing for him. That's the way he sees it, I think. Maybe not when he first came out, because obviously he knocked out Sullivan Barrera. Who knocked out. He really he went up to get levels and went through the gears rather and really put it on him. And
he looked class that night, didn't he? Because he did everything. Then he put the cherry on the top with the stoppage, and I thought, wow, this guy's class. And then he's gone 12 rounds ever since, I think.
I think the reason for that might be. I think the reason for that might be that Barrera, with that deep Cuban background, it's shit that Bivol had seen so many times. So it was just a rinse, wash, repeat for him. It's like, oh, Cuban, okay, we got this.
Yeah, I don't mind watching him box for 12 rounds at the same time. He's fantastic. I'm a massive fan of his work, and even if he's dealing with guys who are a few levels below him, like Lyndon Arthur, I still can kind of enjoy it. But definitely want to see him in Beterbiev. That's an amazing fight. I've seen Beterbiev fight over here in New York, and that would just be the two clash of styles that either would be an absolute dudfest or it would be fireworks, and you'd see both guys bringing the best out of each other.
Yeah, we'll be talking Beterbiev-Smith as well a little bit later on. A quick word on Dubois, Jarrell Miller. Joe Miller's been pretty active. He's gone the Clifford Etienne route since that fight.
Yeah, falling off the cliff altogether. What did he do? He tried to steal back his truck that was impounded or something like that. And choked your man out and had a gun waving. And, he's just a lunatic, he is. But it's a pity because he is a bit of a character. I enjoyed him in Fight Week. I enjoyed him getting in everyone's faces, and he's, the kind of guy who just adds a bit of electricity to a room. And I think they definitely needed that in the Saudi card because without all the fans there and stuff, it seemed a little bit placid or dour or whatever. It's all a bit whitewashed. So I think that he added a bit of spice to it that was definitely needed. But yeah, he's obviously clearly a lunatic as well. So maybe even small doses is best. But against Dubois, he didn't really have enough to give Dubois enough to trouble him. I think everyone pointed to Dubois' mental fragilities and his habit of taking a knee when things get going. But he never really got going tough for Dubois. It was more so just Jarrell kind of like soaking up pressure, and it reminded me a bit of the Homer Simpson Dreader Titan fight. It's like, no, this guy's not going to stop. Actually, it's not Lucas Brown you're fighting here.
I got to say though, guys, we got to give credit to Gerald Miller because he might be the first man ever to do this. And hear me out, guys. I think he might be the first guy ever to convert to Islam before going to prison.
He's on fire tonight, Joe.
Yeah, I thought it was Thank You too who converted to Islam.
I tell you,
Miller did as well. Yeah,
he did, but he's been to jail, so
Thing is, he made the mistake getting a woman involved with that carjacking situation. Though, wherever there's a successful man who's got a downfall, there's always a woman behind it. That's what happened there.
Yeah,
we know how the cops got involved now.
Oh, they will. We wish Joel well. I think that's the main thing. We wish people in the chat well as well. We'll have a brief flick through shortly and see who's hanging around. Des is there. He's off the call now, but thanks for coming on and giving your 2 pence worth, Des. So we're going to stick with the heavyweights, Andy, and we'll go to you actually on this one first. It was announced that we believe Anthony Joshua is going to fight Francis Ngannou on March the 8th, which is a Friday, the hotbed of boxing. They're going back to Saudi, Zhang, Wilder on the undercard. They're apparently saying nice big bag of cash for Joshua rather than going the Filip Hrgovic unknown route if he manages to get rid of Ngannou and looks impressive. The casuals, if nothing else, will be saying Fury struggled with him and AJ absolutely banged him out and there's a bit of credibility in the bank all of a sudden.
It'll be interesting to see how he approaches it actually because as Joe was saying there, I was disappointed as well, but I kind of knew what Wallin was going to present. He's a counter puncher at the end of the day. And even that, he likes to fight at a pace, and Joshua set it on him. I would just be interested to know because Ngannou is strong, does have success with some of those wide looping shots, and if Joshua does get caught with one of those hooks, it could spell disaster actually. So I would imagine Joshua wins. I think he has better fundamentals possibly. Just keeps it at distance, doesn't take any chances he wins, but. How does he want to win? Does he just want to win by costing? Does he want to win and look well and do it better than what Fury done it? He certainly doesn't want to look any worse, to be fair. So it's a wee bit of risk because at the end of the day, we all wrote off Ngannou, didn't we? I think I think maybe one of us gave Ngannou a bit of credibility anyway going into the fight, but
I didn't think he had much of a chance because he couldn't lay on the ground and kick him in the legs like that Japanese dude did to Ali.
Yeah, but the biggest winner anyway, it doesn't matter, win, lose or draw, it's Ngannou. The fucking money that guy will be raking in off these 2 fights alone. Even if he loses, bloody hell, man. He goes in with 2 of the top guys in the division in the last 10 years.
Yeah, so what a resume.
Fair play to him,
And I'll tell you what, I hate doing this, guys. I hate it to the core of my soul. But I got to say, I like the way that AJ looked with Davison. And it wasn't just the fact that he beat Wallin, who we all thought had a good shot at upsetting him. It was these little subtle things that he was doing as far as fighting a southpaw that looked really good. He was landing shots and cutting around where Wallin couldn't catch him, finding ways to get out of trouble with little shifts. I got to give some credit to Davison there. I thought I saw some more clever work from AJ in that fight.
I think, Joe, going on to the AJ Ngannou fight, I think Ngannou overperformed against Fury, who obviously underperformed, undertrained, didn't take him seriously. I think Ngannou exceeded expectations. He was on the crest of a wave. All of a sudden, the fight was turning in his direction, and he did really, really well. And you know what? Fair play to the guy. I didn't know nothing about him before he came over to boxing, and he's done really well. He's earned a lot of money. Seems like a nice guy. Fair play to him. I think that this time they know AJ is going to come out and level him. Not early on. I think early on they'll be tentative, but I think AJ will break him down and stop him. I think that the first fight, I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a fluke, but I think they're riding off the back of that. And deep down, they'll all know that AJ is going to go and do a number on him, I think.
Yeah, like he was a total unknown quantity going into the first fight, and he was completely, obviously, underestimated by everyone and overlooked. But there's going to be tape on him now of the 10 rounds that you can work on and pick holes in. And you would, like, as Andy said, you'd hope that like AJ's fundamentals are better, and you can then just win it at the end of your job and just keep throwing shots. And I think that, like, I think Matty's right as well. You do have to give Davison a bit of credit, but I also don't think that AJ's, you can't change much about him now. I think you just get him doing what he does best, which is throwing shots at range, and hope that his gas tank doesn't empty too early. Like, if that's if I was training him, or if I was coaching him, I'd be coaching him. I think he's best when he's not gun shy, when he's putting people at the end of the job, when he's working his right hand into it as well, and he's not afraid to let the shots go. He seems to overwhelm people. He's got that natural power. It's not like a concussive power, but it is power, and he puts people away when he catches you flush repeatedly. So I don't think it's rocket science, but I think that he's definitely on the right trajectory. I'd rather be in AJ's camp at the moment than most of their heavyweights right now. And yeah, Davison's definitely got something to do with that.
Damo saying I'm getting Wilder Parker vibes from this AJ Ngannou discussion. Matty, final comments from you. What's the best thing for boxing for the heavyweight division? The best outcome in AJ against Ngannou? What would you like to see?
The best outcome for heavyweight boxing in the next few months is for Tyson Fury to beat Alexander Usyk and for Anthony Joshua to beat Ngannou.
And then Usyk to fight Ngannou.
Yeah, that could work too. And then you get Fury versus Joshua.
What are you thinking, Joe?
I just like how Ngannou has come into the heavyweight division. He's just like come in through the skylight, parachuted down, fighting the top first and slowly getting his way down through the heavyweights until he finds his level. It's great.
Yeah, just fucking coming out of the sky like fucking he's descending upon a music festival in Israel.
Crazy. Yeah, like McBain out of The Simpsons, just coming in and fucking shit up. It's great.
Do you know that you actually, if you put together all the McBains, and they've done this on YouTube, it's a movie in itself.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Simpsons trivia.
Mendoza.
There we are.
Mendoza!
G Poker says Fury always looks shy but gets the wins. You watch Fury and he looks pretty beatable, but in the ring he manages to get there. His best performances were Hammer, Wilder 2, and Klitschko, says G Poker. So there you go. Number one says give the video a like for Christ's sake. He's a good man, Steve. I'm not sure about that, but give us a like anyway if you can.
Well, at least Andy is.
And Andy is a good man.
I'm a piece of shit. You and your goats. Andy is all right. He's all
goat
right.
Update, Matty. The three-legged goat, as we know, is no more, which left two. Mama goat, Mabel, R.I.P. last week. She went. There's only one left now, Matty. Had to bed her out with straw today. Look after her as best as I could. Two goats down, only one left.
Are you going to replace
any goats, Steve?
They're all goats, technically speaking, I suppose.
Are you going to replace the deceased goat, Steve?
Not right now. I'm too raw, Matty, to be honest with you. I don't think so.
It's hard to make yourself love again, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah. Absolutely, especially when they're on four legs. But yes, RIP. Mabel is no longer with us, so we're down to one goat. Anyway, people don't come here to listen to that. We'll have a look through the chat, and then after that, we'll go to Andy to talk about Inoue to Parles over Christmas. First of all, let's see who's floating about. Johnny's here. Johnny Horsecock Nelson, Mark Stanton, Chris Butler, Hamed, EK Tran, Snoop Bob, Michael Thompson, David Palmer, G Poker, number one. Ames was here earlier as well. Captain Casual's here. Harvey Price Boxing returns. We've got the Juice just scrolling up. MB Des is in the chat as well. Let's see if we've got anybody else just before we go. Jason Chukwu came in. He said, "See you lot later." It freaked him out for being in here too early.
Yeah, that was weird. It fucked with my day a little bit.
I know it was, wasn't it? You
He's
thought the
still
clocks had gone
2023,
forward.
that lad.
He thought the clocks had changed. No shout to Rapping Rob Kelly. No sign of Rapping Rob Kelly just yet. And Mike Hunt is there as well, though, so that gives us all hope. Andy, Inoue against Tapales was on over Christmas. You can go back if anybody wants to and listen to the post-fight pod that we did on that fight. We thought that Tapales would maybe go early. I think it was only his toughness that kept him in it. He landed a few shots. He got stuck in. He landed the right hook. Inoue's beatable. He got hit a few times in boxing. Shocker. I thought Inoue looked absolutely class, to be honest. Put his shots together lovely. Took a few as well in return. Said he's not going to move up anymore. We expect him to fight Luis Neri in a May time. I just thought he looked brilliant, unifying the belts all in one go as well. What more can you say about this guy?
Not much really, mate. He's at the peak of his powers just now. To be fair, I think Tapale's done as well as what he could. I think over the first half of the fight, especially the first 5-6 rounds, he kind of kept Inoue at pretty much at arm's length, but you could see as the fight kind of gradually got into the latter half, Inoue's cutting the distance down, just gradually picking him apart and then knocked him out. It's just par for the course at this point. Again, you're looking for challengers. You're looking for someone who can maybe test him. I don't think it's there yet. I think we're going to have to wait and see this guy on the slide before we start seeing him maybe, having to answer real questions, because at the minute, everything about him, foot movement, speed and power, it's all there. It's the full package, and it's going to take a hell of a fighter. It's possibly even a venture up to featherweight, possibly it's going to maybe beat him. I don't know. But at this point now, let's just enjoy him, because he is between him, Crawford, at this point, I think in terms of the kind of lower weight classes, than maybe like Jesse Rodriguez, there's nobody better at this point in that, the lower weight classes, than these 2-3 guys, not to be fair, because it's just, there's really is, I'm just kind of like quickly glancing through the rankings, there's nothing really there that can put asses on the seats and that. And as I said, Inoue, I think I heard maybe the part of the podcast, Steve, and that as well. I think maybe the question was asked, why is he not traveling? Doesn't need to travel. Does not need to travel. He is the champion. He is the man. He is he's a number one.
Well, and he makes good dough over there.
Exactly.
That guy.
At the end of the day, he's a champ. So you go to the champ's fucking door, you chat back champ's door, you try to take the title off the champ. So he doesn't need to travel anywhere. It's a lazy excuse. Now, at the end of the day, America's not the hotbed anymore. Maybe that's where the money lies. Saudi Arabia, where the money lies. Now, but at the end of the day, we all know what's right. What happens at the end of the day? The champion deserves home advantage, and if you want to go and do it, go over there and take him. I think as well as he probably signed with Top Rank at the wrong time, obviously with the kind of with the lockdown happening when it did. Nah, it's just circumstances. It just did not help. It didn't work out at the end of the day. But
I swear Bob's kind of phoning it in these days, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, there's that too as well. But that said, there's nothing really much else you can say about the guy at this point. I just say he's at 30 now. You'd think maybe the slide will start happening in the next 18 months, 2 years time, possibly in that. And hopefully we see him active. I mean, how many times did he fight last year? Was it twice, I think, Fulton and Tapales?
Yes.
Technically twice a year fight at this point, so...
Well,
some fights, though.
If I could plan out his next 3 fights, I'd like to see him obviously take care of Neri, and then Akhmadaliev, who we were thinking was the fight until Tapales upset that apple cart. And then I'd love to see him test the waters at 126, or more so jump in, because I think it's supposed to happen eventually. But Ray Vargas against Omar Figueroa, I do expect Figueroa to win that fight. And I'll tell you what, it would be interesting to see Neri against big. What's that?
You said
Brandon.
Omar Figueroa?
Brandon. Sorry. So and Figueroa against Inoue. I mean, that's interesting because Figueroa is just such a big, imposing guy, and you're coming up in weight, and you wonder, when is it a little bit too much? And it's you wonder if Figueroa can't find a way to get to Inoue and stop that train, or if maybe we're looking at a Pacquiao versus Margarito moment for Inoue. You never know.
You just wonder as well as if Inoue is going to stay at 126. I would surmise he would probably just take out his mandatory sort of with Luis Neri, Akhmadaliev, and Sam Goodman.
He said he is. He said he's staying at 122, didn't he? He said he was going to ease it, grow into the weight or something as EK transfers. Then Neo will stay at 122 for 2024. It will be size, I think, Andy, that will beat him eventually, but he is staying at that weight.
Well, then I think that'd be the 3 fights here. I would like to see him probably take them at this point because he's unified the division. That's the 3 closest challengers at this point. He's beat Fulton. I'm not too sure about this guy, Picasso, Dovon, and Casimiro's had his chance in that as well. So I think Ahmadaliev, Goodman, and Neri, who again, Neri's had his chances in that as well. He's failed drugs tests, he's failed weights, he's been knocked out. He still gets opportunities.
It's exciting though, isn't it? Because he can punch. That's why he gets opportunities. I think he had that fight with Hovhannissian, which kind of rehabilitated him a little bit.
Yeah, but he's got nothing for Inoue though, to be fair, mate. He might land a punch or two, but then I think I'll just wake up Inoue who'll just like turn around and fucking absolutely.
Well, the alternatives though, if it's not him, he's already won the 2. He's in a difficult situation, isn't he, Inoue, if he's going to stay at the weight?
Yeah.
He's already beaten the 2 main guys, he's won the belts. It's only going to be a step down. It's only going to be a risk from here. So at least someone like Neri, like I said, he's exciting. He's a puncher. It brings a little element of risk because otherwise you could end up just going into apathetic fights.
Yeah, and I wonder as well as maybe the Aussies might pay as well for him to go over to Australia and fight Sam Goodman. You just
wouldn't be against
that. That's a good fight as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, that Neri fight, I think Inoue is going to finish that up. He's Neri's pretty sharp defensively at times off of 1 shot, 2 shots, but when you really start putting them together, that's when he struggles. And Inoue is just so clever. I see him just kind of throwing a couple of soft shots and just picking Neri clean with a hook on the 3rd. That's how I see that one ending, is just on a very specific combination for some reason.
I actually think MJ could give him some trouble as well. Just his lateral movement and he's got good footwork, MJ, and like so does Inoue as well. But I just think that Inoue might have trouble finding him clean for the first half of the fight, and it might be closer on the cards. Maybe actually might go the distance, or it'll be a later stoppage than people think, or he just won't have it all his own way. I know MJ's stock has taken a bit of a turn after he lost against Tapales, but I remember seeing him, especially when he first came on. And obviously, the Roman fight was pretty excellent in that as well. I think there's a good little fighter there.
He looked good in his last outing too. I thought that he gained back a lot of what he had lost. He just looked flat against Tapales. It was a bad night to have an off night, but I think he had one.
Yeah, I think Joey had an off night at the worst possible time. We mentioned this before. I think that's an anomaly. I think he's a very good fighter. And if Inoue were to stop him, I think that would be a statement, because I think Ahmadaliev would be tough enough and skilled enough to definitely go the distance. I think it'd be a tough fight as well for Inoue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are talking. Obviously, you want to talk past that as well, but I think that I definitely won't be writing off MJ in that. But I actually really like the Goodman fight as well that Annie mentioned. I think that Goodman's a good fighter as well. He's unbeaten, so there's always that going into it as well. It always adds a bit of intrigue, and you don't already have a template on how to beat a guy. And Goodman's a guy who I've kind of betted against a couple of times, thinking that maybe he's bitten off too more than his chin. I thought that was it Reese Alim that you fought?
Yes.
Last? I thought he'd have too much from him, but he's made pretty short work of the guys that he's been in with, and each fight has been a progression. So look, Inoue would probably be too much for him, but I think it would be a good fight. And then a Neri fight is probably the least interesting one of the 3 of them for me, but he does have that. I think he's got that history in Japan that they probably want to see him take a bit of a beating as well. Andy may know more about that, but didn't he fail the drugs test over there and then put a beating on some guy over there?
Yeah, against Yamanaka, wasn't it? I think
that was it. Yeah, right.
I just don't think Goodman's enough of a puncher. I think that, it's one of those things where he's a good fighter, and like that Alim win, that's a good win, and that was a pretty fun fight if I recall for some reason. But I just think it's one of those situations where a non-puncher fights like a puncher, and that's a bad guy to do it against in a way.
Yeah, against the Inoue it is definitely. Andy, sticking with the Japanese theme, Kazuto Ioka got a 7th round stoppage win, WBA super flyweight title against Josba Perez, a Venezuelan who came over. Feel free to speak about that fight, but also the situation surrounding that fight. There was talk for a good few months that Ioka was going to fight against Juan Francisco Estrada, who's becoming one of my sort of nuisance fighters. I think this guy is grossly inactive, man. His career is absolutely slipping through his fingers. Estrada needs to get his finger out of his hole and get back fighting in the ring, because he should have been in on New Year's Day against Ioka, not Perez.
Yeah, as I say, I'm just trying to think. Actually, was there no really some talk about a Gonzalez 4 fight happening between him and Estrada?
There's a lot of rumors going around with Estrada. It's hard to get a hold. One was that he couldn't make 115 anymore, and he was going up to 118. The other was the quadrilogy with Chocolatito. Then you also had things stemming from him calling out Bam, or from Bam calling him out after his fight as well. So there's a lot of rumors going around with Estrada, but he's been out of the ring for over a year. Who knows?
And before that, he was out of the ring again, wasn't he? I think he had a couple of fights in quick succession. The Gonzalez third fight and a fight in the September. I'm remembering this off the top of my head. And before that, Matty maybe hadn't fought for 14 months. So there's long spells of inactivity.
Which is a shame because he was definitely a pound-for-pound fighter, but you almost have to consider him, he's at least inactive, if not semi-retired right now.
Yeah.
You just wonder as well as what's Estrada's financial demands and that as well. You know, is it just about the money? I mean, he's mid-30s now, early 30s minimum, so he would be well paid, I would imagine, if he went to Japan, but, you know, you just never know if Estrada's maybe potentially priced himself out of it as well.
Mm-hmm. And what about Ioka himself? I mean, he's got some left hook. He's retired, didn't he? I think about 4 or 5 years ago, and he's still going.
Yeah, he's still going as well. He's he done pretty well. He stopped the guy down, pounded him, dropped him 3 or 4 times. I think that might be one of his. I'm trying to think now. Actually, I think it was his first knockout in quite a number of years actually as well. Just when you think about it. So done well in that regard, but he is banging the drum for a potential unification fight, obviously. But I don't know at this point, mate. To be fair, as I say, we just need to get some sort of answers. They might try and get the Martinez guy. Who knows? He's already beat Tanaka, who I notice is number 1 for the WBO title.
The last person he knocked out, incidentally.
Yeah, true enough. So it's a hard one. I'd imagine he's going to try and put his name in amongst the mix for Estrada Gonzalez potentially. I don't know if he even come down in the weights of potential, but he's, you know, it looks like the Inoue fight's passed him by now as well. He's not going to go up 2 weight divisions and take that beat down, is he? So maybe go up and fight the brother. I don't know, or the cousin. I don't know, but he done pretty well at least. Not as I say, his options are kind of limited though. As I say, it depends what Estrada's want to do. Which, personally speaking, I think he's priced himself out. I mean, there was talk about, I don't know if I'm right here. I don't want to count people's pockets, but Rodriguez apparently got 400,000 to fight Edwards apparently. Ooh. So if that's what Rodriguez is earning, right? What's the guys like Estrada and, you know, Chocolatito earning, who've been the poster children for the division for the last decade? You're talking $800,000, $1 million minimum, possibly, maybe slightly higher than that. Yeah, as I say, I think the only fight that really kind of like would move the needle in terms of money would probably be the Gonzalez fight, but I think he would get well paid to go to Japan, Estrada. But again, it depends what he's asking for at the end of the day and that as well.
Lovely stuff. We love a Japanese fight here. I have put the question up on the screen. Beterbiev versus Smith. Who you got and how that fight is coming up next weekend in Canada. Before we go on to the main event though, Matty, we'll have a quick look over the undercard. See who's floating about there. See Jason Maloney, the Australian assassin, WBO World Bantamweight titles on the line against Saul Sanchez. We have Aussie's Rowan Murdoch. Could be murdered against Christian and Billy. He's quite the puncher, very exciting as well. And then the staple of the Eye of the Tiger undercards as well. Down here, we've got Wilkins Mathieu, who I've been keeping an eye on these Eye of the Tiger cards. Very promising prospect. He's only 18 years of age. Good stand-up boxer puncher. Mehmet Ünal, I think he was a Turkish representative.
I think I saw him on one of those cards, and I thought he looked pretty mean, if I recall.
He's not the greatest Ünal. He's quite easy to hit. They put him in with a couple of Argentinians, and they found him quite easy to hit. Christopher Guerrero as well. I thought he lost one of his fights. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of, he's on the undercard. Imam Kaitev is getting in against Rodolfo Gomez. He's a puncher. Kaitev comes to fight. He's a real exciting Eastern European. Shame they didn't get Jean Arobio on. He's a Colombian puncher who's based in Canada as well, who sometimes appears on these cards. What are you thinking, though? I think Billy's probably the pick of the undercard.
I'm at a fucking UN meeting.
Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I honestly want to see Billy, obviously, and see his progression. I think this probably another walkover fight for him, but we shall see. You never know. Stranger things have happened. It's just PVC occupies so much of that 168-pound talent, Steve. It just seems like a guy like Billy is going to be kept at arm's length when he would probably mix in with the bunch so well, and that's a shame. I think Sal Sanchez is a live underdog against Maloney. If you kind of take a look at him and the people he's faced, he's got a good resume under his belt, all things considered, and I think he might surprise the Australian on this card. So for me, that'd be what to look at. But again, you're right. There's all sorts of prospects on these cards, and it's almost difficult to keep track of all of them because they have so many different people that have immigrated to the Montreal area, or at least are boxing out of there for so many countries. And yeah, it's just becoming a melting pot. And I think, now we're seeing the beginning of it, but I think these Eye of the Tiger cards over the next few years could end up having some very exciting fights between up and coming talent.
Have you ever thought of emigrating up north to Canada, Matty?
Let's see how November goes, and I'll talk to you then.
Fair enough.
I lived in Toronto for a bit, and I'd say don't go there in the winter.
Oh, really?
Fucking Baltic, apparently. Yeah, I was there for the summer.
Yeah, man, it does seem like a pretty cold place, Canada. But the heat will be on this undercard anyway, Joe. And Billy, I'd love to see him fight someone like a Melakuziev or someone who's going to come forward. They're going to go all guns blazing into each other. Rowan Murdoch's not a bad fighter from Australia. He beat a guy called Isaac Hardman, which is a great boxing surname, in his last fight. But 3 fights ago, he got knocked out by Zach Parker. That doesn't bode well for me in a fight between him and Christian and Billy.
Yeah, and Billy's pretty mean himself. I think he'd be a problem for most of the 168 guys, and that's probably why he's not getting most of the shots than anyone else. He's kind of a low risk, high risk, low reward guy for the moment, but he'll work his way into a shot, I'm sure. And has he had a shot before, or is he maybe?
No, he's still working his way up. 25-0, 21 knockouts.
Yeah.
He's 28 years of age. He's absolutely in his prime now. They've kept him active, but as Matty said with the belts and Canelo and that, the sanctioning bodies are going to have to force something through for this guy soon.
Yeah. It's like him and Morel are kind of in a similar position, but I guess Morel had that trinket of the WBA for a while, but he doesn't have the luxury of the trinket, or maybe he's got a different kind of trinket. But yeah, I think it's just a result of the Canelo situation, that when you have a guy who's kind of soaking up all the big fights, who's just a magnet that people kind of revolve around. You get guys like Billy and Morel, who are very good fighters in their own right, but who aren't there because there's not 4 belts to go around. It's all tied up with this one superstar. But I think that they'll get their shot, and when the Canelo train does come to a halt and the belts fragment, it would be guys like Morel and Billy that would be there to soak it up. Murdoch, I think I have seen fight as well. I think I might have seen that Hardman fight. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not expecting much out of him at all.
They're tough Aussies, aren't they? But they're there to sort of take a beating sometimes.
Yeah, they're on a bit of a roll now, to be fair. I noticed just because Nadim Haddad on Twitter, the Australian boxing Twitter guy, he's very vocal when the Aussies are doing well, and he's pretty loud recently. I think he's got a lot to like about Aussie boxing, between Tim Tszyu, Sam Goodman, and even ferocious Kambosos. They're talking about him fighting Lomachenko. I think that's an interesting fight as well. So yeah, I'm proud of the Aussies, and it's a bit of a trip now up to Canada. So hopefully he makes it all right and does himself a bit of credit.
Absolutely.
Who else is on the other card as well, apart from Billy? You mentioned it was.
Well, we got Jason Maloney. The rest of them are prospects. Like I said, Katayev. I think he was a Russian, 5-0, 5 knockouts. He's from Russia, fought in the Olympics. He's based in Australia, but he fights out of Canada now for some reason. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But
nails, by the way, he brings
the heat, doesn't he? Him.
Well, he does. I remember. I think he's a bronze medalist, silver medalist, possibly at the last Olympics. I forget. I think it might be in the Cuban that he fought actually. But he's a hard piece of shit. Like, honest to God, they would take some shifting.
Yeah, he's packing on the air miles. By the sounds of it.
Right, let's get on to the main event itself then. Beterbiev against Callum Smith. The guys in the chat have been putting in their 2 pence worth. Let's see where it is actually. Quebec City, next Saturday evening. ESPN, ESPN Plus, all those things are televising it. 19-0 Artur Beterbiev, IBF, WBC, WBO light heavyweight titles on the line against 29-1 Callum Smith. Chris Butler says Smith will surely get stopped. David Palmer says Beterbiev stoppage rounds 7-12. Hamed says, need to see Beterbiev KO Smith and Beterbiev versus Bivol ASAP. 100% agree with that. No time for Callum Smith win, unfortunately. He needs to get smashed up to make the big fight happen. Mark Stanton says, Beef by stoppage. Who else we got here? Talking about catchweight. Smith has a puncher's chance for the first 2 rounds, says Yumi Yappy. We'll get to that shortly. What else have we got as well? I agree, says Captain Casual. And they're talking about something else. Let's get on to you, Matty, first of all, then. Whenever I hear Eddie Hearn talking about Callum Smith knocking out Beterbiev, he's almost had a vision, hasn't he, Eddie? Some kind of angelic vision has come to him that Smith's going to knock out Beterbiev. And then I think to myself, I remember that Smith arguably lost to Ryder. He struggled with Holskin, Scogland as well. Let's not forget this when we hear Eddie's projections, Matty.
I obviously think that Beterbiev is going to win. I'm kind of shocked, honestly, Steve, that Smith isn't a bigger underdog than he actually is. Let me check. Last I knew he was just paying 3-1.
3-1, yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, and it hasn't moved a whole lot, which is it's moved up to 320. So moving just a smidge. Just want to see the over under on it, 9.5 rounds. Getting a little less value on the under 9.5, so they're thinking somewhere around 10. You're getting it's basic on this. It's an interesting fight. I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting, maybe a 1-6. Yeah, there we go. Beterbiev, I mean, this tells you what the books are really thinking. It's just a little better than even money for Artur Beterbiev to win in round 7-12 with the books right now. Smith by decision is getting 7-1. So that's fairly. But I got to tell you, I think it's worth hedging because you got to think about the inactivity of Beterbiev. Yes, Smith too as well. Beterbiev becoming a much older man. Smith with a good left hook. He's a taller fighter. I think it just at 3-1, just putting a little smidge of money on Smith to land that hook. You might as well do it at the knockout, get better value than that. But I think Beterbiev, round 7-12, that's probably your money bet on that one. That's how I'm seeing it go down. If you'll kind of know if Smith thinks he has a chance to win, if he tries to throw some shots early. But if he can play negative with the best of them, so we'll see what happens. I don't think he can play negative for as long with Artur as he did with Canelo, unfortunately. So if he chooses to go that route, I don't think he hears the final bell.
Eddie's right about Smith's power, and you can never write off a puncher, Matty. But also, the guys he's iced. He's never knocked out anyone in the caliber of Beterbiev. I mean, they're all lower level operators, man. This is a big step up in quality for him.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, and this guy's a fucking monster. His jab feels like most people's right hand. And I'm kind of shocked that the odds were this narrow for Beterbiev. I thought that he'd be a far wider favorite, but that makes me curious why it opened up around that area. So I don't know. I think of the last few opponents that Beterbiev has had. I'd say that Callum Smith probably does have the best chance of the lot to beat him.
They thought that against Canelo as well, didn't they? They all said, he's going to go and he's going to do this, going to do that. And he put in one of the most shocking performances. No, Andy, to be fair, they say, Callum Smith, he was weight drained against Canelo. He got his arms and his biceps battered. I don't think Smith likes getting hit hard. Who does? And he goes into survival mode very quickly against Canelo in particular. As soon as he feels the strength, the power, the brutality of this beast, he's re-entering that shell, I think.
Possibly, mate. I take the point. Maybe early doors. Maybe he kind of catches Beterbiev coming in with the left hook. Eddie is absolutely convinced that Callum Smith is going to knock out Beterbiev, and in his words, spark out. So if he does, fair play to him. But I don't see it. Just on the last injury that Beterbiev had, it was apparently a tooth injury, so it was actually infected down below. So it seems to be cleared up at least. But I think once he starts landing that shotgun jab, mate, it's a matter of just breaking him down. I wouldn't be surprised just to kind of see it go rounds. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go into kind of latter half, and maybe even Beterbiev get like an 11th or 12th round stoppage, just purely kind of like breaking Smith into the body and that as well. But I don't. I suspect Smith will have his moments, especially early half of the fight. He'll try and keep it at distance. He'll use his long arms possibly. But I think Beterbiev will just start hitting arms, hitting shoulders, just kind of bring the arms down and just gradually kind of pick them apart. But I think it will go rounds. I think I would expect maybe Beterbiev to win, but possibly by late stoppage, definitely by decision at least. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it by a late stoppage.
Yeah, I think actually the comparison you were making there, Andy, is quite apt. I think it might be similar to the Yard fight. Beterbiev could have to ride out an early storm, bit of a slow start. We saw him drop by Callum Johnson before. He was hurt a little bit in that one. The Jeff Page knockdown was a flash one. He kind of caught a jab, didn't he? And then he came back and beat the shit out of him in the next round. And then I think he'll come back. And I don't know if he'll stop Smith or not. I was thinking originally 9 or 10, but maybe could Andy go the distance? Smith might have enough to see the final bell.
Yeah, possibly, mate. As I say, I think he's got enough. He was a good amateur back in the day. He's a good boxer. He has got decent power and that. The move to 75 will have helped him as well. But the thing is, as well, again, we were just mentioning about Ortiz earlier on the show. Smith's another one. This will be his third fight in 4 years. So third fight, and one of those was the Canelo defeat, I'm sure. So. And you got in against this dude and that as well. It just smacks it like a sign off, like one last payday possibly in that as well. But you've done well for yourself in that as well, mate. You had a fortune in that Super Series, as well. So yeah,
that's true. But those things don't always correlate, do they? Like he's made a lot of money, he's done well for himself. He'll be able to feed his family, retire, never work again, etc. That's all great. But if you're then going to carry on fighting, it doesn't matter how much money you've got. You're going to be ring rusty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when you see this guy when he's actually practicing his jabs on a concrete fucking wall. So there's levels to this jabbing game at the end of the day. My God, but yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Smith go to distance, to be fair. But as I say, I just think I wouldn't be surprised as well. I would be shocked to see either guy get iced early doors. I think it's one of those, if it's going to be a stoppage, it'll be a late one, but definitely it's going to be a close a distance fight as possible, I think.
Mm-hmm. Chris Butler says Smith hasn't got the self-belief that Yard has. Number one says, has the botched root canal affected Beterbiev? I remember Darren Corbett used to have trouble with his teeth back in the day, but that was because he used to drink 2 bottles of Coke a day, so I suppose that would happen to you.
Hell, man.
Dr. F, he wanted to open up a sweet shop when he left, when he retired, actually.
2 bottles of fucking crack, man.
Dr. FMG there says, Beterbiev KO round 8 after dropping him, standing count more than once, and Hamed says Bivol may be the only guy now capable of beating Beterbiev, but would be over 12 rounds. Smith's only hope, Joe, is father time, and that is a thing a few people have said, actually. Beterbiev, he's getting on a bit now, showing signs of wear and tear, a few injuries. Could Smith be getting him at a good time? But is Beterbiev going to initiate a boxing bicep beating?
Yeah, I think that people are probably looking at the last performance against Yard and maybe picking holes in it a little bit. Like, I don't think Beterbiev has ever been a defensive master, and his thought has always been one that he's going to take shots on the way to brutalizing it, basically. But he's relentless, and he's got great footwork and fundamentals that are underrated. But he's also got that great engine and just that thudding power that just breaks people down. And I think that Smith, I don't think he stands much of a chance of winning the fight, but I do think he has a chance of probably going the distance, like Andy said, if he chooses to fight and he gets on his bike the rest of the time. And I think you might see something like he did with the Canelo fight, where he's just a lot of lateral movement from him in that shell, trying to throw one shot here and there, pot shots, not actually standing and trading. But there's a chance, I think, after the Yard fight that maybe he will try and stand and trade a little bit like Yard did. Ultimately, it didn't happen for Yard, but I think that it's probably Smith's best chance for victory. And if he's going to be brave, actually be brave, and not just be brave in terms of turning up and paying and getting a check. But I think if he does stand there and trade with Beterbiev, he would be brave, and it would be his best chance of victory, I think. If Beterbiev is over the hill and Dr. Time is there, then that's the only way to really find out. I don't think you're going to find out by being on the back foot for 12 rounds. But I don't know. I'm not sure which way he'll take it. I think he'll probably go for option B and try last, like he did against Canelo. I think the Smith family are probably all going to be unbearable this weekend as well in Quebec City, running around doing every little interview under the sun and talking absolute waffle as they do. So I think Callum Smith fight brings out the worst in that family. So I think we're going to see a lot of that this week as well. It might make for a good belly of the week next week.
Hand on heart, Joe, how are you seeing it going then next week, Beterbiev-Smith?
I think Smith lasts the distance. Actually, I've been thinking. I looked at the odds today. It's 5-1. I'm probably gonna have a little taste on that. I think that he'll maybe have a little bit of success early doors, but then Beterbiev will get to him, and it might be the first half of the fight, might be the middle of the fight, but from there on out, it'll be survival mode for Carl Smith, and he's probably got enough about him. He's big enough, fills out well at the weight. You know, I think he might just last the distance, and maybe it'll be Beterbiev. Maybe a 33 or 32-year-old Beterbiev would have got to him, but maybe he'll get away with one this week. But yeah, I don't see any way of him winning the fight. I think it's Beterbiev, and then we'll hopefully get the Beterbiev-Bivol fight. I'm with Maddie as well. I've seen a lot of people trying to tip and Carl Smith to do well this weekend, and I don't know what form at 175 that's going on, because he's not really fought anyone at 175. It's all been your Nanan Castillos and these kind of guys. So I think it's a huge ask for him to be even competitive in this fight. I don't see it even being competitive.
G Poker agrees. He says Beterbiev within 4. Smith won't be able to get the range and will get caught trying to land a counter. Final question for you, Matty, before we move on to our last feature of the evening, which will be desired fights for 2024. So have a think in the chat there. Which fights you really want to see, fantasy, realistic, etc. Who you really would love to see nailed down in 2024. Then we'll go on to the belly of the weeks and out. Before we do that, Matty, a year ago, Artur Beterbiev stopped Anthony Yarde. Fun fight, actually. Really enjoyed that one. Excellent scrap. If Yarde were to fight Callum Smith, Matty, how would you see that fight going?
That's a really good question, Steve.
Well, broken clock and all.
I tend to think that the length of Smith might give Yarde a little bit of troubles. I think what's helped him in some of the fights that he's surpassed our expectations on, like Beterbiev, he wasn't much of he had a little bit of an advantage himself in that one. So I don't know. I think that's a really interesting fight. And should Callum Smith lose, and it not be like so brutal he wants to retire, I wouldn't be opposed to them putting that fight together. I kind of see that as a pick 'em, honestly, Steve. That's a good shout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Callum Smith is on the DAZN side. Anthony Yarde at the moment is on the BT side. So whether it could be made, we don't know, but it would be an interesting fight. Nonetheless, right, let's move on to our final portion of the evening before we go on to the belly of the weeks and get out of here. Joe's here with us, so is Matty, Andy, and me, Steve. So, desired fights for 2024. What do you want to see? Michael Thompson has thrown one in already. Ben versus the British Boxing Board of Control. The dossier. We might see the dossier in 2024. You never know. More Ryan Garcia versus a career-ending injury, says Mike Hunt, which is a little bit mean, but there you go. Mark Stanton says Porky versus Sam Jones. Andy's disappeared. Andy versus Wi-Fi, maybe. Have you got anything for us there, Matty? Desired fights for 2024. If there's one you could really nail down, or 2 or 3, as many as you want, really. What do you want to see?
I would like to see Benavidez versus Canelo first and foremost. That's one that I'm really big on. I would like to see Tank versus Shakur.
Yes.
And not necessarily seeing an opponent yet, but I would like to see William Zepeda against a top 10 lightweight and see what he's got at that level, because he's a very exciting fighter. So that would be something high on my list to see. I would also like to see Zoo versus Charlo finally get done, but I don't know that'll happen with all the problems that the Charlos seem to be having. But yeah, there's a lot of great fights to be made, and I kind of sneakily would like to see Kenshiro Taraji take on Bam before Bam goes to 115 pounds, but I know that's a huge pipe dream.
Mm-hmm. As for Shakur, Matty, I suggested he was once the face of boxing. Now his face has to be covered up by a balaclava with the shame. His stock's at a low.
He's the face of melatonin.
his stock's at a low point, I think, at the moment, isn't it? Really, after that De Los Santos and the fact that he can't get off social media and keep digging holes for himself, he has a lot of repairing to do in 2024. Shakur fight against Gervonta Davis would repair some of the damage. But what do you think about that?
He's a man in need of a good dance partner and a good performance, and he's a tremendously skilled fighter. But the thing is, if you're not just standing in front of him and trying to lead, he doesn't necessarily do enough to ignite. And I could see him being outworked by a fighter and losing a decision. And I can just see a very capable and accurate puncher not giving a shit about what's coming back and sparking him out. So we'll see. 2024 is going to be a big year for Shakur Stevenson if he hopes to have some momentum in this 135 to 140 pounds, which is absolutely stacked. And I mean, take your pick. There's any number of fights between the fighters in those two divisions that's absolutely mouth-watering. And Shakur needs to do something to get back in that conversation again.
Do you know what he could do, Matty? I'm just come to my mind. He could pull like a Khan against Maidana move, and if he fought someone like Matias, it would sort of like add a bit of credibility. All of a sudden, he beat him, and like the hardcores, but like, Shakur, this is great. I think it would turn people around a little bit.
We almost like you have to see him walk through fire just to get our respect again.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Again, I think Bob's just so phoning it in anymore. I don't know what's going on over at Top Rank. Lopez against Jermaine Ortiz. That fight just does nothing for me, and I do that as someone who rates what Ortiz has done at 135 quite highly.
Ramirez is gone. If Shakur goes as well, then Top Rank could be on Skid Row. But anyway, that's a conversation for another night. Just before we go to Joe quickly, Yumi Yappy says Rob versus the Wind. Haven't heard from Rob tonight. Maybe he's got blown away. Take Ames says Jake Paul versus KSI and Rob versus Miami Mal Alien, whoever that is. Michael Thompson says Quote rematching that sparring partner. We'd love to see that, wouldn't we? Captain Casual Ortiz Jr. versus you, and the winner to fight the Quote, maybe. That'd be interesting. Mark Stanton, Eddie Hearn's Fringe versus a Wind Tunnel. We got Ellaby versus Hearn, says EK Tran. Chris Butler says Haney versus Lopez. Matthias versus Haney, says Michael Thompson as well. Tio versus Haney. A lot of Haney shouts out from Cedric Sniff there. Yumi Yappy says Father Dave versus Bitcoin Rodney. Father Dave was sliding into my emails this week. Said he's got a world title fight on the horizon, but he has to go back to becoming an amateur again to get it. So I'm not really sure what the hell's going on with Father Dave. Sounds legit, doesn't it, that?
Hey, I'm pulling for Father Dave. We are on the Father Dave team. Man, you go out and you kick some ass and you get that fucking title, Father Dave.
Right, well, it's fair play. Ray says Rick Glazer versus Dan Raphael. Take Ames. He's got silly now. He says Dubois versus Joe Joyce 2. And Navarrete versus Cordina, probably for a fight of the year contender. MB. Joe, what are you looking forward to in 2024?
Tio versus Matthias is the top of my list. I think that was flouted after Lopez's last fight. That would be a fantastic fight. Bivol Beterbiev as well, which you mentioned earlier on. I'd like to see Zhu and Charlo. I think Maddie mentioned that as well. Loma and Shakur, I think that's a great fight. I think you're right. Maddie's right about Shakur. He definitely needs one to win back over the boxing public a little bit after. He just does so much talking on Twitter or X that it's just, it's taken away from his skills. And I get if he wants to be seen as a heel and you think that's the best way to get big fights, and if that's the kind of persona he's going for, fine. But you do have to back it up by fighting people. Who else have I got? What about Nakatani and Estrada at 118? I know we're talking about Estrada not being not maybe priced himself out of big fights, but I'd love to see Nakatani with someone really good as well. Really test him this year. I think he's at 118, right? Maybe 2024 would be too early to ask for this, but maybe in 2025, if Inoue is still ruling at 122, that would be a mouth-watering Japanese clash.
I think Nakatani's down to fight Santiago, isn't he? He beat Donaire at the end of February, actually.
Very good. That'll be a good fight. Santiago, he's a handy fighter. So, yeah, that's exactly the kind of progression that you'd like to see from Nakatani. So, maybe the next level sometime at the back end of 2024 would be good. Who else have I got? Morel as well. Let's see Dave Morel in a good fight. If not the Canelo fight, then another contender or top level guy at 168.
I think you'll see him against Plant, Joe. I really do.
I think so. I think Plant as well. In Billy, as we mentioned earlier, Joe, that'd be a good shootout for as long as it lasted.
That'd be great. You know, at some stage the guys have to start fighting. I know we've been saying that about fighters and division scenes for a long time, like whether it's the young guys at lightweight or the heavyweight guys, but sitting on the sidelines and just waiting for your opportunity just does nothing for you. And you can see that when Plant eventually got a shot against Canelo, he was rusty, pretty much like all Canelo's fighters. Smith was the same. They all just wait for 12, 18 months to get these shots, and by the time they get the shots, they're shot. So you're better off keeping your iron sharp by fighting the guys around you. So I wouldn't be mad at seeing Morel against any of the top guys, but I definitely want to see him in against the top guy. My brother just moved out to Minneapolis, actually, coincidentally as well. So I'd like to go out and actually see the guy live.
So the Armory, Joe.
Yeah, that'd be class. Yeah. That would. That's the perfect excuse now, Joe.
It looks like great crack, doesn't it? Like the atmosphere out there. Like I think every time I've seen a fight out there, it looks like a really good. Really
just
good.
Wait until at least May.
Truax fight looks fun. Truax fight look fun. You know.
Just wait until at least May to go there. The winter in Minneapolis just looks fucking miserable.
Yeah, I told you I lived in Toronto for a while. I lived from like May to September. I think outside of those months, you pretty much live underneath the ground. They have like these like complexes where you go to your office and you get your food, and everyone you don't even see the light of day because it's so cold outside. So, no, I like it here in New Jersey. It's very temperate.
Have you seen Otto Wallin lately, or is he hiding from you?
He's hiding from me. He's not responding to my DMs either. He's gone cold. He can't look me in the eye after he folded against AJ. When I first met him, in the street, I just walked up to him and started talking to him, and we actually talked about AJ as well. So, it's all come full circle for me and Otto.
Oh, good stuff. Andy, on to you. Nobody's mentioned any heavyweight fights yet. I don't know whether that's a coincidence or by design, but nobody's looking forward to seeing a heavyweight fight in 2024 that hasn't already been nailed down.
Yeah, I suppose, mate. I mean, there is only this time last year, there was a handful of fights we wanted to see. There is only really one that we want to see at this point, which, all intents and purposes, we seem to be getting. So that's good at least. Beterbiev-Smith, I don't know if the boys have already mentioned that. I kind of slightly tuned out there. I think Matty mentioned Alvarez, Benavidez. I'm all over that fight. Hopefully that gets made. And Billy against Morel, down for that one, absolutely. I think Tim Tszyu, again, Tim Tszyu, I would be happy to see him fight anybody, to be fair, actually.
Boots against Stanionis. I can't believe
I was just coming to that, actually. I'm just
Mm.
scrolling down through the divisions now because I was thinking about Crawford and that. I'm like, there's nothing really for Crawford just now.
Nah, he's done it welterweight.
Spence rematch is washed. We see the Charlo situation.
I heard Spence is fucking fat now.
I wouldn't be surprised, mate. I wouldn't be surprised. Stanionis, again, needs a fight. Ennis needs a fight.
Both of them, grossly inactive, man.
I know, mate.
It's a PBC thing, seemingly, Andy.
We'll just need to wait and see if this Amazon Prime deal is going to kick asses and stuff like that. But other one I want to see Matias against Lopez.
Yeah.
I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Even Haney against Matias or Haney against Lopez, down for any of those ones.
Who would you like to see Tank fight? Would you rather see Stevenson, Haney?
Well, again, mate, I like to see Tank fight Matias. I like to see him fight Lopez and Prograis and Haney, and if he wants to get himself into the fucking mix and throw in Stevenson and that as well. But the weight's going to be an issue. I don't think you need titles, these type of fights. I think you can maybe get a catch weight between 135 and 140. Again, I think that will pull in the hardcore. Doesn't need belts. Don't need belts. Ryan Garcia, again, if he's wanting to fish about Barroso and that, then I think we're kind of knowing where his focus is on at the minute.
His ambitions are.
Yeah, basically, that's what I was looking for. Ambition, really.
Yeah.
Yosaki Foster against Cordina, possibly if you want to get a fight at 130.
I honestly, guys, I don't think that Foster gets past Nova for some reason.
I've
just got a hunch.
He's past who?
Abraham Nova.
They're fighting next year.
Steve, and by the way, Steve, great prediction on our part.
Oh yeah, when he started throwing his name in. all the names, and he goes, "I might fight Abraham Nova." And we're like, "Fuck, where'd that name come from?"
Like, well,
just
looks
got
like it's
fed him.
like Abraham Nova.
He just got fed him through the earpiece. That's what happened there.
Tipexed onto the Telecaster.
Yeah, exactly. Aye. Nick Ball. I want to see Nick Ball fight anybody around about fringe world level. Maybe like Mauricio Lara, possibly.
Wouldn't him versus Ramirez be a kick of a fight? You got that big, tall bastard against 5'2" Nick Ball, or Espinoza, I mean, the guy that beat Ramirez. Oh my God, wouldn't that be a kicker? Oh man, just a giant versus the little ball of muscle. That'd be a kick.
We've already mentioned Inoue and stuff like that as well. We've mentioned Ioka, Estrada, Gonzalez, that type of stuff. And that. Again, I'm not really wanting to see a fourth fight. What else we got?
What about Jay Opataya versus the Guota?
Yeah. Well, I'm up for that one, mate. I'm up for Bernard Hopkins fighting Da Haney in the toilets as well.
In the toilets?
In the toilets, mate, aye. But fucking B-Hop's about to go back to the penitentiary here, eh? Take it to the toilets,
do
man.
that, isn't he? Offering people into dark rooms.
I tell you though, Haney was all about that smoke. He was chapping about that smoke 10 months ago. And what happens when that B-Hop smoke comes basically straight into his nostrils? He shit his pants, by the way, didn't he? You fucking kid yourself. He fucking shat it.
Why do we need to go to the bathroom?
Okay, I think actually that Haney's on time, so he should have fucking known what that phrase meant.
I know, but Hopkins, man, for me, it's a different animal, isn't it? That.
No fucking
fighting over toothpaste and Gillette.
I tell you who I want to see fighting, by the way, and again, I'm not proclaiming it to be the next big thing, but see that Albert Ramirez, I think he's the Venezuelan at light heavyweight, 175.
Yes.
I'm telling you, man, I think with the right fights and the right opportunity, he might just pull it off. But again, Beterbiev and Bivol are fantastic champions at this point. And then you go, but he likes Boatse and Dan Aziz and Yard and guys of that ilk, and that fucking log it. Ramirez fucking walks through every one of them.
It's a good list there, Andy. I wouldn't mind if we saw 2 or 3 of them. I think we'd be happy enough.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Good stuff. Right, thanks very much for that, boys. Before we go on to Belly of the Week, we had a comment coming from Marcus Bellinger over Christmas, so let's have a look what he was saying. Again, I think this was around the time of Christmas Day, just before. Marcus says, "Hey lads, just wanted to say thanks for the regular content this year, and may the pod continue to go from strength to strength in 2024. Well, let's hope it continues to go. Never mind strength to strength. Anyway, whilst the drugs situation has been a shambles and the heavyweights have been a letdown, I think 2023 overall has been a bloody good year for boxing. Hopefully tonight's card, which was the day of reckoning, I think, or maybe it was Inoue, is the step to bring closure for this era of heavyweights. There you go. And Crawford and Inoue produced performances that would be worthy in any era. There is so much talent and depth at 135 and 140, as we were just saying. And Tank, Garcia, Haney, Loma, Haney, Prograis, and Teo Taylor were excellent fights that got made. And let's hope the trend continues next year. Bam produced an outstanding performance against Sonny. And personally, I'm looking forward to the featherweight and bantamweight divisions next year. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Marcus. And I'll send in some predictions and fighters to look out for early in the new year. So thank you to Marcus for that. He's always on top of the Asian scene, so he knows what's going on down there. Unless anybody has anything else to mention, I think it's time to move on to the Belly of the Weeks. If so, throw it in now, boys. We pretty much covered everything, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been quite a quiet start, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to say real quick, especially with Joe here, there's still time to get in to the Patreon if you want to be part of this season of the Boxing Nutters Prediction League. We're going to be doing the first week of this quarterly season coming up this weekend. Going into next Wednesday, we're going to be picking a fight off of the Canadian card on Saturday and throwing in the Pro Box main event from a week from this Wednesday as the second fight. So look forward to that. And if you join up with the Patreon, you will get all the details on how to do the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Patreon.com/Boxing Asylum for the Prediction League, the WhatsApp group, all the other things, a Splinter fitness group, Matty, as well. We're shedding pounds each week. So if you want to shed your pounds in the Patreon to us, you can also shed a few pounds and a few kilograms in the Splinter fitness group.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work in there. And then there's me.
Not us.
Well, there's me who's losing weight just by intermittent fasting and not doing as much sugar, but eating whatever I want when I do eat. Like seeing all these healthy meals. You're like, well, I didn't eat for 24 hours, but before that, I had Korean fried chicken. So
doing well, yeah.
I like my methods. We'll see how it all works out in the end. we can do a little compare and contrast.
Yeah, let's hope not. MB says, God, you'll be doing Eddie Hearn's 5K next. Maybe not. We'll try. see if we do the 0.5K first. Anyway, patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. To play us into the Belly of the Weeks, we're going to have to rely on old material, unfortunately. All these videos we keep playing every week. I have to sit and mute and trim. Andy knows all about this because of copyright this, copyright that, fucking YouTube. Copyright this and everything. So yeah, we have to play an old AJ meltdown, I think, to play us into the Belly of the Week for episode 554. Fury against U6 coming up soon. So I think no better time than to play this one when AJ was admitting a few things to us in the ring after his own fight with Usyk.
This is a proper man in. You know what I mean? Proper man who don't talk shit, don't tell lies. He gives everybody his time.
A round of applause as our heavyweight champion of the world. Woo!
Nice work from Joshua.
I'm not a 12-round fighter. Look at me. I'm a new breed of heavyweights. All them heavyweights, Mike Tyson, Sonny Liston, Jack Dempsey. Oh, yeah, you don't throw combinations like Rocky Marciano. Because I ain't fucking 14 stone, that's why. I'm 18 stone, I'm heavy.
You're a troll. You know the word troll? You know what that means? Like a troll. He's just a fucking complete and utter low-life scumbag. It's a troll. So what? You don't have to say anything to the trolls.
Hard work. This guy here is a phenomenal talent. We're going to cheer for him 3 times. Well, how many belts you got now, bro? 5. Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Hip, hip! And as I said, I was studying Ukraine and all the champions that have come from your amazing country, but I've never been there. But at the same time, what's happening there is, I don't know what's happening, but it's not nice at the end of the day. I've seen it with Lomachenko in his second fight against Orlando. There was unrest in Ukraine, right or wrong. There was issues in Ukraine in your second fight. There was civil war. Vitaly Klitschko, when he faced Danny Williams, civil unrest.
Get behind AJ to win this weekend. He's a great man. He's done so much for the sport. He's inspired so many. As Bellew says, you know, he paved the way, AJ, for fights for Bellew, like against Usyk and against David Haye, and for him to have that kind of platform.
Usyk as a champion, please raise your hand. Under them circumstances, he managed to become champion. Champ, champ! Champ, champ! Champ, champ! And I just want to say, Bismillah.
One of the all-time great meltdowns there from Ant.
I just think it's hilarious how all these Westerners in that part of the world and boxing is going right now. And actually, the results are pretty fucking hilarious if you look at it.
The initial reaction, like, they're like, nice words.
Oh, yeah, B. Nice words from AJ.
Classy. It's like it goes so downhill from there.
Well, thanks for that, Anthony. Bellew of the Week, leading us in. Talking of nice words, there's been some nice words this week. Unfortunately, we had a passing in the boxing community, and it was met by the words of Rick Glazer himself, who broke it. Breaking, says Rick. Long-time boxing manager, hashtag Cameron Duncan, has passed away this morning. Duncan managed many top fighters over his 33 years in hashtag boxing. Duncan was 67 and in ill health for years. There's no RIP here. It's good riddance, Cameron Duncan. The lies have now officially stopped.
What a bastard, eh?
Always the high rate.
Oh, an absolute cunt of a man, by the way.
Oh dear. Someone dragged this one up as well, Andy, from before, man. This one, I don't know if this is better or worse. He said, R.I.P. Carlos Panama Lewis. I know many don't have nice things to say about Panama, but he was a big believer in yours truly and always sung my praises. Thank you, Panama. Hashtag boxing.
He's like Donald
You'd think it was a parody account, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's great that all men have these kind of opinions, but like to actually be a platform for them to put them out to the world like Twitter is just amazing as well. Like Twitter missed a few boxing characters, but Rick Glazer is definitely one that I'm glad it didn't miss.
Oh yeah, Rick's a good guy, man. Well, he thinks he is anyway, but
he's an entertaining guy.
He is. Someone else tweeted this out. DJ Fucknuts tweeted out, breaking, long-time boxing insider Rick Glazer has sadly split from his lovely wife Sonia, sources confirm. I'm sure you will join me in wishing Rick all the best. Sonia was then moved in with Stephen Espinoza, and they plan to open a fish and chip takeaway, and then he tagged in Rick, and Rick's like, take that lying tweet down, or you'll be suspended by Twitter, /X. Your choice, jack off.
Raging.
Oh dear.
Did you see the videos of him last night?
Yeah, he was kicking off, wasn't he, at the show?
He was making moves. Yeah, he had to throw his weight around, his considerable weight around. It's trying to let it be known who was there, and who they were talking to. Jack off.
Why is Oscar employing him, Joe, for any kind of meaningful business? No serious business would entertain Glazer on their books.
Must have dirt on him.
Yeah, I think he must have to do some terrible dirt on Oscar. I'd say. Yeah. I'd say he's got something that he found in the back of one of his taxi cabs many years ago. A dildo with his name on it or something like that.
I'm sure he has. Who knows where that's been? Matty. There's Oscar. I'm not sure what his missus was up to. It seemed like she's wearing a fake beard. What's going on there, Matt? Did you catch that?
Yeah, looks like she.
Looks like
it looks to me like she's trying to get a big purse from Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
Lady Gaga or something.
Oh dear, she was distracting me. I'm not sure what's happening there. And there's Oscar himself. He says, well, lots of eyes will be on Vergil Ortiz tonight, and they should be. Don't miss the co-main with Golden Boy's newest soon-to-be star, Ohara Davies. He wins tonight, he gets rollies for the world title. Vamos! At Ohara Davies.
Tweets that preceded unfortunate events.
I think he deleted it afterwards, but we got a copy. The internet never forgets. Joe, you nominated this one. Sibby Boxing says, Happy New Year, boxing family. What's your bold boxing prediction for 2024? And Jim Carras said, Matchroom USA will have a breakout year and get a foothold into the US market.
Yeah, I heard they want to pay Devin Farmer another $3 million to book out Philadelphia. Put Jesse Vargas in the undercard. Now we've seen this before. They tried to do so. Failed horribly. I don't know why 2024 would be any different.
I don't know. Matty, what's your latest with DAZN? I saw that going around the Twitter sphere over Christmas about the guy who tried to cancel DAZN. He'd signed up in New Zealand when he lived in New Zealand, and he was trying to cancel DAZN, and the customer service advised him that he would have to fly back to New Zealand and cancel in the country that he signed up in.
Yeah.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
He signed up in New Zealand, he's got to go back there and go, fuck that. Just cut them off at the source, man. Cut off the bank account. What's going on?
That's what they told him.
I can't figure it out, Steve. It works fine on my computer, but then I get that lag shit through Roku, and then I get that lag shit if I try to just get it through the internet on my television. I don't know what in the God's fucking name is going on with DAZN, but it's not nice.
I can only watch it on my phone, and I have to then telecast it onto my TV, because every time I try to turn on my TV, it says I'm logged in too many accounts.
Yeah, so if you go to the DAZN website, you can change what devices you have associated with your account and add a new one. You just get an old one off of there.
There we are. A bit of advice. Matt, you should get on the customer service circuit.
I couldn't do worse than those fucking assholes.
Absolutely. I've never heard of these, Joe, but betting top 10 Ireland, giving the top 10 tips. He says, think Beterbiev is overrated personally. Still incredible, but certainly overrated. And then he says, maybe he's not overrated then. He's a good boxer. I think Callum Smith beats him relatively easily. They are prediction from betting top 10 Ireland, Joe?
Yeah, I'd love to check his form. I'd say his track record's probably questionable, but doesn't sound like he knows a lot about boxing. I love just Beterbiev, even coming into his fight. I'll watch some of his training videos the week of. He's an absolute madman. Like, he trains like no one else. He works out muscles like no one else in ways that you'd never see anyone train as well. Like, he's an absolute machine. I mentioned I was at the Joe Smith Jr. fight here in Madison Square Garden in the theater, and like the way he's built, like it's like no one you'd ever see. Like, he's got just muscles built on muscles, and he's just built like I don't know, like part gorilla or something like that. Like he just looks
like
the
light heavyweight version of fucking Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV.
Yeah, he's just like George Foreman almost. Like he's like a light heavyweight version of him. Like he's kind of built just like a fucking beast. So I don't know. I can't see anyone beating him at the moment. Obviously, Father Time will get to him. Like I can't remember who said it earlier on. Maybe Ames, but like he can't keep going. But the way he conditions his body, the way he has like the top guys in Montreal and some like Canadian sports excellent academy who look over every aspect of his training and make sure he's not going too hard, or he's not like some guy who's just like running up hills, standing on his hands, but he also can do all that gnarly stuff as well. And like his hand and wrist workouts are insane. Like that he spins the barbell for the weightlifting like it's a lollipop. Like he spins it around on it just one-handed. Like if I tried to do that, I'd never use my wrist again. I'd be wanking with my feet for the rest of my life. Like, so. I don't know how he does it. Like, how do you start even doing something like that? Like, he's from a different planet. Like,
from a different planet. Speaking of which, Rapping Rob Kelly's jumped on the
call. I was thinking my ears were burning.
Just in time for this one, Rob. The McGuigan Family Gym and Promotional Company is set to be liquidated. You'll be sorry to hear.
Well, that was really going places as well, I think. There's a lot of faith in that brand, wasn't there? Fucking hell.
Money ran out. Everybody else's.
You're not taking back any of this other people's stuff, liquidators.
Oh, dear me. We wish Barry well. Jack Massey Boxing, I thought this was quite a good one, actually, Andy. He said, it'd be rude not to share this one again. At Bombs Bomber, Deontay Wilder, give me a call. I'll show you a few pointers on catching Joe Parker with the right hand. Then he put up a little video of him catching Parker with repeated right hands. A good bit of trolling from Jack Massey there.
He's well done, mate.
Oh, dear. Talking of right hands, there's another one for you, Andy. Eddie Hearn's handprints. Heading for the Boulevard World Riyadh season celebrity wall for the day of reckoning. There you are, those paw prints on the wall.
Hey, what, man?
The wall of shame.
He's losing a lot of weight already, by the way.
Try to keep up
the young pups these days, man. They're power of shagging, taking the right out of him. Like,
Couldn't happen. He's I thought he was. Oh, fuck me. I thought he was doing that into a mold of Sky Nicholson's arse. That's what I thought that was. She's going to come up behind him in that chair, just like Ghost, him and Demi Moore. They're just going to start making pottery together.
Oh, dear. Good old Eduardo. There they are, Matty. First time I've seen a guy have to stand on a cushion for the post-weigh-in photo.
What the fuck?
Mark Demore. Getting a bit of elevation there.
I thought, is that like the magic carpet was floating about of Egypt or something like that, no?
What the fuck is the
That's the rug the boys had in the ring.
I don't know. He stood on a cushion for some reason. I'm not really sure why.
Where have they got that cushion from? Like, that looks like it's coming out of someone's living room. Like, and they brought it away in, or was it just in the lobby? What happened there? Like,
it's the fucking maximized version of George Costanza in his Timberlands.
Oh, I think he looks quite well, old Demore there. Didn't do him much good in the fight, though.
You can hear Frank Warren saying, "Hang it, that."
Hang about it, stand on a fucking cushion.
Do me a fucking favour, mate. Give me the fucking shooter. Give me the fucking shooter, lads.
Brick top. The old brick top. Yeah, into the crime scene. Like Jarrell.
Here we go.
There he is, Rob. Former boxer was arrested on Tuesday for allegedly stealing a truck from a dealership in Hollywood. He was just taking his possessions back, Rob.
Now, wait a minute, though, Rob. Is that
former boxer? They got in there early. Does he announced his retirement? He only fought last week.
Rob, you've got to agree with me here, right? As I say to the boys, right? His biggest mistake wasn't it the fact that he pulled up on this fucking place. It wasn't the fact that he even entered the place. It was the fact that he entered in there and had a woman with him to actually distract. As soon as that's happened, you're fucked. As soon as you get a woman involved in that type of situation, you're fucked, mate. You're fucked. But capital F.
He's like that, and I bet you she was like that scene in fucking Blow and Penelope Cruz when they get arrested in the cars. She starts making shit worse for the cops from and all. Like, yeah, he's got coke in the boot. Yeah.
I bet you she was probably like that wee blonde bird that was in that series of Ozark. And that'd be fucking. You know what I'm talking about?
I hear you.
Curly-headed one.
Aye.
Yeah.
You little fuckers. You know what I'm talking about? The little shit. Yeah. I bet that's what he's made, by the way. Some sort of fucking hood rat.
And it's only then
she just rattled on him.
White trash or something like that, you know.
It's only really then you realise you fucked up in it. Because before that, he thought it was all good in the hood, didn't he?
Dude, he's been in Saudi Arabia earning fucking millions. He's coming
That's what
back
I said. He's like Clifford Etienne, man, isn't he? Making all that money and getting himself banged up.
But it was a repossessed car, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Maybe he had something in the car that he needed back. That could be another possible story. He went to
body in the boot. I've got EPO in there. I need to put it in the fridge. Oh fuck! I need to go and get it.
Well, apparently he's got a lot of problems. Apparently he's being sued by Salida. He's also being sued by Salida for millions of dollars for his positive test, causing the fights not to happen and the losses that Salida incurred because of it. Yeah,
so maybe then you might have to repo a truck.
As well, doesn't he?
Pardon?
What is it, Joe?
It's the worse than that. He lives in Florida, doesn't he?
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to put Big Baby under the jail. He's not fucking getting out of this one. He's fucking... I'll tell you what they should do. They should make Tank, Big Baby, Curtis Hyde, and Earl Spence all new characters in the new GTA when it comes out. That's the marketing scheme.
And Maurice Hooker.
GTA
Mo.
Fuck me, man. Big Baby Miller. What a guy. Like, fucking down to repo the truck. It's not like with a guy like him, can do that shit inconspicuous, by the way. He's fucking 350 pound weight trying to sneak his car back. Fuck off, man.
Hey, what was that movie with, I think it was Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames, where I think Wesley Snipes was actually the champion of the world.
Undisputed.
Yeah. Like, he could maybe have like the real life version of that, and he could start fighting people in jail.
Rhames was playing the kind of Mike Tyson character, wasn't he?
Yeah. It can't go worse than his regular boxing career is going for him. Start punching guys in jail. Fuck it.
Wasn't there a shitty 80s movie like that, Penitentiary or something, that fucking, what's his name was in? Carl Weathers or something. Wasn't Carl Weathers in one of them shitty jail movies where he had to fight out of the... I can't remember. Fucking anyway, don't worry about it.
Tom Selleck was in one of that prison movie, man. Fucking Jesus.
Are you sure you're not thinking of the one with DMX and Steven Seagal?
No, not
that was Exit Wounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember that one? That was a good film.
I tell you what, I heard a story about that. See that Michael J. White? He was in that film with Steven Seagal, but Michael J. White is like legit, serious fucking boxer, MMA guy, that type of stuff. And Steven Seagal apparently takes liberties with his stuntmen. And then the final fight scene came down to him and Michael J. White, and according to people, Seagal was shitting his pants because he knew he couldn't take liberties with this boy. If he fucking did, he was getting his fucking teeth rammed right down his arsehole. So
I don't even think Steven Seagal can do karate, can he, or whatever the fuck that shit
No,
does,
what was that old boy?
Isn't he an Aikido master?
Is he? Fuck.
He just be hitting these motherfuckers like on the shoulder and all, they're dropping like fucking, they got hit by a sniper. It's like, whoa. And everyone's like going along with the acting, all it's a bit weird, isn't it? And just like
the guy's like 6'8", long arms. He fucking bullies. I'm not saying he's no maybe got a bit of Aikido. What the fuck's Aikido going to do to you in a fucking street fight? Fuck off, man.
He's got like the fucking black hair, soy sauce dripping down the fucking side of his head as well when he's doing it, doesn't he? And the fucking bifocals. It's a fucking disaster.
I just think that it's a shame that he left that being a sheriff and went to Russia or whatever before Eubank Sr. went down there. Could you imagine a show with Steven Seagal and Eubank Sr. working as law enforcement officers in Louisiana? I
absolutely can.
Well, you talk about fucking bang for your buck, fucking sign me up.
He's in Russia, Matt. He should fight Roy Jones, man.
You have Eubank pulling over all the fucking perpetrators and all going, you don't want this, dreadlocks. You don't want this.
Oh, dear me. Anyway, good luck, Jarrell. You're going to need it. We can't wait for this one.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about Jarrell Miller.
Luke Littler and Anthony Joshua to link up for a documentary. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go well.
There's no fucking way he's 16, by the way. I'll tell you right now.
Tough paper around, I'd say.
Everybody's saying the missus is too old for him. I'm like, too old for him? Fuck me. His hairline's worse than mine, man. He's fucking 16.
Every night they beat that cunt, by the way. There's no way he's 16. If he's 16, no had a blowy yet after what he's done in the darts world behind the fucking doors, that man, there's something fucking far wrong, I'll tell you right now.
Maybe that's how you have to beat the way darts. Like, you know, in boxing, they train him from an early age. They just get him in the pub when they're 12 and just here, eat these fucking pork scratchings, man. Throw that shit at the board. We're gonna get good at this.
Yeah. Seen half an hour, mate. Play pool with the boys. You fucking stay in the fucking left.
What's that? You want a Lucasade? Yeah, here you go.
Those truly are the man boobs of a 30-year-old, though. Let's be real.
He's some player, isn't he, the boy? Fair play to him. Like, anyway, he's not in as good shape as this guy. How fitness changed his life at 44. Get him into the Nuthouse splinter group, Matty. I say Eddie Hearn, Men's Health. There you are.
Too relentless.
Yeah, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome if they believe that fitness is a primary goal.
I believe.
How many in the group are in credit?
Like
They're
fucking
measuring themselves
BlackRock.
against Big Johnny Fisher, so we're actually doing pretty well.
Fair play to all the fatties. We wish them well.
It starts Monday, Rob.
You here, new John Fisher?
John, I tell you what. You're doing well, John. Winds of Change. Meet unknown Brit nicknamed the Girthquake, who has just become a world boxing champion 7 years after quitting the UK.
Girthquake.
The Girthquake, man.
That's
IBO
the
champion.
greatest fucking porn name ever.
He's the IBO king, is Patel. He's
IBO Girthquake, by the way. Get
Mitchell Banquez is
the
cool.
squirting going, baby.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
have to go to fucking Pornhub and see if there's anyone on there called Girthquake. Because if there isn't, then I can't believe that. That's fucking incredible. Fuck.
He's read that
That's
somewhere,
all right.
fuck's sake, man.
Oh, he has probably, hasn't he? Probably took it from somewhere. Anyway, another couple here. Durde Vision Sports. This was brought to my attention. Naoya Inoue versus Marlon Tapala's fight reaction. Andy, is Inoue a hype job or the
fuck
real
off.
deal?
Absolutely. Who is this helmet?
I don't know. Somebody sent it to me. 120 subscribers. They want to ask for their money back.
122 money, by the way. Fuck's sake. Is it
I
a hype
think-
job?
I think once you've crossed that threshold of, potentially being one of the 100 greatest fighters in the history of boxing, the word hype kind of goes out the window.
Yes, well said, Matty. But Martin Bacoli has been busy. He says, "I hate." No, that's a Muhammad Ali quote. Actually, he put up a GoFundMe. Help me to achieve my dream of becoming world champion. £70 was raised, so it seemed like it was going well. A few trolls jumped in.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God, Steve!
At least they give him fivers, silver lining, no?
You wonder why he pulled the fucking fundraiser.
Yeah, Martin Peterfile.
Then you have Martin touches boys and Bacoli loves kids.
Reminds me of a GoFundMe in Wexford that was started around a fire in a guy's house. That was suspicious to say the least. One of my mates put 20 quid in anonymously and said he burnt it himself.
I gotta ask, do you think he might have put this up there like to make his promoters feel bad and just to get him a fight kind of thing? Do you
I've
think
no
it might-
idea what's going on. Apparently, he got a load of money from the Democratic of Congo, Republic of Congo, government. And someone said this. On one hand, Matty, there is a locality in the DRC that needs 100,000 to finance a well drilling that can supply thousands of inhabitants with drinking water. On the other hand, there is Bacoli, who needs 100,000 to box. Choose between champagne for a few or drinking water for all. So I don't think Martin spent the money he got off the Congo government too well, to be honest.
So if your idea from having that fight isn't that, hey, if this fight's successful, we can dig 5 wells, then you're thinking about it the wrong way. I'm not here to say that they're going to make the right choices. The fucking Congo is one of the poorest countries on earth per capita. And yet, if you look at the minerals that they have, it is actually one of the wealthiest countries on earth. So if they could just quit killing each other and, like having villages full of children soldiers, they might be a fucking wealthy nation and not have
forget
to pay
about that
Martin Bacoli $100K instead of digging a fucking well.
Forget about that shit. How do they think the results of his fights are going back home? That they're fucking spending that kind of bread on him. I want to fucking know what's the report going.
I think Congo needs to start the GoFundMe. If they're giving their money to Bacoli.
Belgium needs to start the GoFundMe if it's Congo. Belgium calls all their shit, so book will start with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Great bunch of lads.
Yeah, great bunch of lads.
The Congolese.
That is just a truly bizarre story, man. Flip me. But anyway, good luck to Bacoli, whatever he's up to there with Billy Nelson up in Scotland. Those are all the nominations I've got for this week. Matty, what do you have for us?
I have nothing. The holidays and all that has been quite busy, but we'll start paying attention again in the new year.
Okay, lovely stuff. Joe, what do you have for us?
B-Hop for his little bump. He was looking for a bump off Bill Haney
Yes,
in the
that's the
bathroom.
winner
He
for
got a
me,
little
by
bump
the way.
on the way to the bathroom as well. So, yeah, bumps all around for
B-Hop
B-Hop.
B-Hop is
Bump off
fucking
the
inviting
bottom.
everybody to the bathroom these days, isn't he? Just any problem he has with someone's like, yo, my man, you want to go to the bathroom? Like, relax, B-Hop, man. There's cameras everywhere here. What's the fucking problem?
That's what I said. That's the second person he wants to get into a dark room, isn't it, B-Hop?
He keeps saying it's like some jail shit. He's like, you know what I'm saying? When it's man to man, you have to ask somebody to go to the bathroom. Like, what? He's gonna remember that.
For me, it was just weird because I was used to doing bumps in the bathroom, not bumping and then telling people to go to the bathroom. It's
It was
totally
the
backwards.
fucking most bizarre exchange since the last bizarre Bernard Hopkins exchange 2 weeks ago. It's definitely the fucking up there since. What the fuck?
I shit you. I had a friend growing up, and his dad was, and my friend, he was a black guy, but his dad was an army vet who had some traumatic brain injury, and like he would sit there and make us listen to him for like hours at a time as he like waxed lyrically about life. And whenever Hopkins goes off on a tangent, I get this fucking flashback to sitting in front of my friend's dad and just fucking listening to him and his treatise on life. Like Hopkins, he's like a philosopher with brain damage. It doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it's just fucking never gets to the point. It's just a fucking. He's just like everybody knows B-Hop. I was one of the biggest B-Hop fans there is. When he had his detractors, I was one of his biggest fucking defenders. Like, but. And speaking to him was probably one of the 2 times I was genuinely starstruck in my life. But having said that, he's rocking up at too many press conferences in turtlenecks and kind of like fucking suede jackets looking for trouble these days. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm kind of worried.
No, but I'm sorry,
bathroom hops this is.
I'm probably picking this one, maybe Gerald Miller possibly, but the fact is, Da Haney was talking all that shit about a year ago, and he was high energy, and then what happened? B-Hop,
make no mistake,
old school, man.
beat the shit out of David.
Yeah, there's levels to this prison life, man.
Yeah. B-Hop been penitentiary, by the way, and so has Bill Haney. Bill Haney clearly didn't learn when he was in the panel, didn't he? Because B-Hop walked up behind him and just whispered in his ear. If that was in the pen, came what happened there. Bill Haney's been in the fucking hospital with a fucking shank in his fucking kidneys, by the way. So,
or maybe he made something else, which is fucking even worse.
But you see security getting involved though. You see security coming across, and all Da Haney kind of, you know, the eyes were getting a bit twitchy and all that type of stuff.
Oh, he was shook. I thought in the exchange, you want to say? He was shook. He was shook. But at the same time, B-Hop's not fighting nobody. He's relaxed. Like he's not fucking fighting anybody out in the lobby or anything. Stop. Like.
But the thing is, though,
he needs to get some bathroom etiquette as well.
I can understand him getting involved with that last carry on with the
guy spitting his face.
That's assault, man. You can't go.
No, you can't do that.
But then, as I say, Da Haney was spreading the heat, and then the smoke came blowing in, and that was B-Hop, and Bill Haney didn't want to smoke it, did they? So he didn't want to go to the bathroom and smoke that heat.
Did you say that shoulder was assault?
He's trying to get away. He's trying to get away from the cameras.
No, sorry, Rob. See, the last situation with B-Hop got involved with Samson Lakowicz. Well, Samson Lakowicz got spat upon by the guy. It was Elvis Grant's
gloves,
son. The guy who owns Grant's gloves. His son spat in Samson Lakowicz's face.
The fuck?
B-Hop went mental, man. Started chasing him down the fucking hall.
B-Hop chased him all over the hotel, man, trying to get hold of this guy to kick his cunt in.
Asked him to come to the bathroom again. He's like, yeah.
He's got prison PTSD, man.
Bathroom.
B-Hop smuggling in bottles of links in his friggin' ass and everything now.
I'm just wondering when he goes, he's trying to get away from the cameras, but when he goes to the bathroom, is like the little African lad with the aftershave is either Effler because he already has the tuxedo on, so it makes sense, doesn't it?
You look at that as a potential assault story, and I look at that as about a story of togetherness, because you just saw a Muslim standing up for a Jew. Like, that's the world I want to live in right there. That was a beautiful sequence.
There you go, but you can't go spitting in folks' faces like.
No.
No, look, fucking defending Lukowicz. That was the right fucking thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Who fucking goes around spitting in people's faces? That's one of those things that
Every one of my exes.
Rob, you need to keep your snowball kink off of the podcast.
No, that's not what it was.
Right. Any others from you? Who are we on to? Joe?
Myself, I think.
Andy,
sorry. No, that was Joe. Sorry.
Joe. Yeah, sorry, Joe.
I just had the B-Hop bump. Yeah, that was it.
Good stuff. Andy?
Yeah, B-Hop as well for me, mate. The one in there for as well for Ohara. Just, I mean, did you see at the start of the show, just to kind of fight herself back into contention like that, just to get iced. Then have Oscar saying the next big thing in boxing, baby. Oh, fucking hell. He lasts 30 seconds, man.
See, Barroso, he throws the punches like, you ever see those fucking viral clips on Insta or something where it's like a 75-year-old man hitting a heavy bag and he still can whack? That's what Barroso looks like when he's throwing the punches in real time, don't
it?
Obviously, big baby, my lot of mate as well. It goes without saying, it's just fucking.
Big Baby Miller is just a big that's why he's got his fucking nickname, isn't it? Big Baby opportunity haver who fucks it up. That should be his fucking nickname.
You get the wonder.
That's too many words, Rob.
I get you. It's not as snappy as I wanted it to be.
Has Big Double D just smacked him a bit too hard? Do you think possibly?
No, he was always a dickhead though, wasn't he?
But the thing is, he's just a career high payday. He thinks he needs to go and repo his car. What the fuck's going on?
Dude,
Meanwhile,
you got to think, man. If you're a guy that size who grew up, I think he's from fucking Brownsville, New York. Like, dude, that guy, he might not be the greatest boxer in the world, but that guy is a bad motherfucker.
I know a lot of people from Brownsville. And Brownsville is a lovely place. We wish them all well. It's a great spot.
LL Cool J, bitch. Well, come on.
LL Cool J's from Queens.
Bruce Carrington's from Brownsville, and his crew were on his last fight. I think it was the undercard of the Beterbiev-Smith fight, I think, and all his crew just came in to see him fight. They ran down to the front of the show, sat at all the fancy seats, didn't give a fuck, smoking blunts, having a great time. It was actually so much fun. Yeah, all about it.
The Ville is a serious place. Fucking Sean Price from Brownsville, my man Rim, Thurston Howell, all them. The infamous gang, the Decepticons, and the Lowlives are all from Brownsville. It's a great place, like I said.
Transformers.
Well,
that's why they could be both, because they're deceptive. I get it. Yeah.
I think that's maybe where they took the inspiration for their name, Matty.
You're just lucky they didn't choose the Cabbage Patch Kids if they're going off of 80s toys. It could have been bad.
Javonta. Right, I feel like we digress. Let's go through the list again before we get out of here, Matty. I know you're enjoying yourself, but we need to just calm things down a bit, Belly of the week and all stuff. It's no laughing matter.
Ease yourself back into the new year, Mike.
I know, yeah. We're having a good time so far. Year's dragging a bit, Matt.
We're not going to solve out the Middle East crisis in Belly of the week. Settle down.
You don't ease it, Steve. You spit and go.
Spit and go, just like Elvis Grant. Rick Glazer was our first nomination for another one of his RIPs.
Spit and push.
Cameron Duncan passed away. Oh no, that's not.
Who? Panama Lewis? Fuck him, man. If he's dead, man, fuck him.
Cameron Duncan, the lies never stop. Rick got punked as well by DJ Fucknuts. We had Oscar's bird with the
Lady Gaga.
Show Oscar's bird here. Sorry, Steve. But she seems like she's enjoying it.
She has to go home to Oscar. He was bigging up.
It looks like she's trying to represent both sides of the Indiana-Pakistan conflict.
Talking to Oscar, if you go to YouTube, he's actually on. It's not like MTV Cribs or anything like that, but it's like there's like a 15-minute documentary actually going about his new house just above the Las Vegas Strip. It's apparently minted, apparently.
Oh,
that's the one with Jake Donovan as well. Andy, was it there all around his house?
Possibly, mate. I just seen the video kicking about last night. I've saved it to kind of watch it like later than that, so I'll maybe catch it later during the week.
Good stuff. We had Jim Carras nominated by Joe, who's on the call with us here. We had Betting Top 10 Ireland, who maybe need to hand in their betting slips. We had Barry McGuigan there getting liquidated. Lol. Jack Massey boxing with a troll. We had Eddie with his hands. We had Mark DeMore standing on the cushion. We had Jarrell for all of his activities. We had Luke Littler and AJ in the documentary. Eddie's health. We had the Girthquake. We had the troll, the hype job of the real deal. We had Bacoli as well there at the end.
That Bacoli stuff's quality, man. I'm telling you right there. That is absolutely brilliant trolling. Hey guys, do you think the bastard even still took the money? Even though, I mean, their lads have put that money up in good faith. Wonder if they maybe cancelled at the end of the day. I need to know that. I need to know. The boys were happy just to put the $5 through, but
you probably make as much money as the super chats, don't you?
Free money, yeah.
Do you see with Big Baby Miller? Do you think it's the fact that like he's probably just looking at Andy Ruiz's Instagram and getting all jealous? It could have been him.
Yeah, is Andy Ruiz not getting divorced and the missus not going to
Yeah,
have
that's right.
millions as well?
Yeah, for a ride.
Yeah.
There we go, man. There we go.
Well, don't be sharing any more good news stories on a Sunday night.
There we go. Start of the year, meaning to go on like
exactly.
Hey guys, fucking start of the year. Cat Williams trying to fucking set the world alight, man. Jesus
Obliterated
Christ.
him.
That was
I love Cat Williams, man.
absolutely tremendous viewing. Honest to God, that's
In today's everyone a piece of shit except Cat Williams.
All Cat Williams this shit for years has been on point. Like the Michael Jackson bit for me and the Iraq War bit. Oh my God, we're fucking funniest guys in history, man. A legend.
Got a report of a disturbance. Ain't no disturbance here. Officer, just fuck the bitch.
And he said part when he said about the Iraq War, and he's like, "We're not over there killing the Iraqi soldiers. We're over killing them." He goes, "Anybody in the audience want to tell me what the Iraqi soldier's uniform looks like?" He's like, "Exactly. We're over there killing fellas in flip flops, tank tops."
Oh dear, Andy, who are you going for?
Big Baby, mate. Go Big Baby. Go to be, man. I mean, Moxie, man. What Moxie, that guy just deciding, fuck this shit. I'm Jerome. I want my car back.
Brownsville in the building. Let's go.
Bootsville massive, baby. Let's fucking rock. Rock out with your car. Let's fucking go.
That's why there's no car dealerships in Brownsville, by the way.
They're abundant.
I wonder what is it about Brownsville fighters as well, by the way, because you got to think Riddick Bowe, Mike Tyson, and Shannon Briggs are all from Brownsville as well. So there's something in the water out there. Fuck me.
Teddy Atlas used to kick about that area as well, didn't he?
I think he's in the Catskills, wasn't he?
He's from Staten Island originally, I think.
Staten Island.
His dad was a doctor, but he ran with the dudes on the street. They actually had a really good interview on the Lex Friedman podcast with him recently. I normally don't listen to Lex, but there was a very good interview about his life with cousins.
Do you know why I don't listen to him? Because I never fucking watch his podcast in my life, and he's in my algorithm every day. Just Lex Friedman on his interview. I don't give a shit about this fella. Who the fuck is he?
Who is it? Who's that?
Lex
Friedman character.
Oh, right. Never heard of him.
Wish him well.
Yeah, wish him well, exactly. He's doing well. Not as well as Joel Miller, though. That's Andy's choice for Value of the Week. Joe, who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Matilda's dad himself, the odometer fiddling bully Rick Glazer.
The scourge of single mothers.
He loves to nibble, this fella. Loves to nibble as well. His Twitter is just so much gold. He just comes back at everyone with this like old man kind of Italian stuff. So yeah, definitely Glazer. And if you can get that video as well of him giving the security guard a bit of grief from last night as well, it's hilarious.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'll go for Glazer as well. That's 2 for Rick, 1 for Jarrell. Matty, who are you going for?
Oh, I got to go with Jarrell Miller because, Steve, let's look at it from the frame of Jarrell Miller's last month.
Ooh.
He travels to Saudi Arabia. He says to
first
them
class
he needs,
spitty as well, by the way. First class accommodation.
He says he needs $400,000 more dollars because he's in financial straits. They give it to him, at which point he converts to Islam. Then he gets knocked out by Daniel Dubois with 15 seconds left to go in the fight. He comes back home to find his truck has been repossessed, at which point he goes and tries to physically accost the people and get it back, and is arrested for that whole incident, and finds himself potentially looking at jail time. That's one of the most interesting months in the history of any man.
Mike Tyson couldn't pull that shit off any quicker, man.
Do you think
it's like a fucking shitty fucking Forrest Gump? It's just great.
It's only up from here, though.
Do you think the missus was like, big baby, maybe we shouldn't do this? You were just on TV last week. He was like, bitch, I was on the zone. Nobody see that shit. Start the fucking next.
Or hear it.
I need to know more about this woman that he's pulled in, though. I mean, the whole thing's been poorly planned, but you didn't bring in the chick.
Serafina was once a scorned Big Baby Miller.
That's right.
Associate, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she said everybody could suck her dick at one stage in defense of Big Baby Miller, but then afterwards she turned on him. So maybe he just can't find the right woman, man. He's looking in the wrong places, maybe.
My money says she can breathe through her nose pretty well.
Rob, before you
not that he's going to know about it anymore.
Ains has come in with a quote from Big Baby himself, apparently, who said, "God gives the toughest battles to his strongest soldiers." Also extending a very special thanks to my trailblazing attorney, John Weeks, who says, "After the facts are revealed, we are all confident he will be vindicated. I'm prayerful and look forward to a favourable resolution."
He's been segued on to Conor Ben now, eh?
That's what I'm talking about. In the States, anything is possible, baby. Only in America, if you have the money, you can make that shit go. Hey, come on, Big Baby.
It's Tony Weeks, not John Weeks, to get him out of this one.
Tony Weeks to stop the case early.
He'll stop it early.
Stop this trial. Stop this trial.
Here you got, Rob.
It's gotta be fucking. It was close. I got B-Hop was doing it. B-Hop needs to stop going around when Ellie Seckback is around, fucking bumping into people and wanting to fight him in the bathroom. He has to stop that. But I think Big Baby Miller, after like Maddie said, like what a fucking trajectory and a timeline. Like sometimes I look back at my life and think, shit, man, I have had a crazy life. But then I think of that, like I cannot imagine a situation where that unfolds. You get me? Like,
I mean, he is literally, as Matty says, mate, he is literally flown back from Saudi Arabia.
Like, what's a truck in America? 30K or whatever?
Took
Like,
him, I don't know, where does he stay? Florida? I have no idea where he stays, right? But anyway, he's got home, he's realised the fucking car's been repoed. He's like, fuck this shit, man, I'm Jerome Miller, I've been fighting Saudi Arabia, I've fucking got fucking four stacks to bank. That's just tremendous, man. I mean, you have to spend all that money on lawyers' fees and fucking, honest to God. He's
probably waiting on the check to clear, and he should have just got his paid by Bitcoin Rodney.
I mean, he's phoning Turkey El Mac. He's phoning Turkey El Mac, man. He said, "Hey, dude, I need back on that
he's
show."
like, "Yo, Your Excellency, there's been a problem in fucking Brownsville. I'm gonna need your help."
What do you need me to do, man? Honestly.
Look at his mugshot as well. He's like, look at him like fucking hell.
On the come down.
Big Anthony Johnson, you know, AJ must be laughing at this shit so hard, man. He's in his sitting room with his big plush house with his fucking friends, his entourage yes men, and they're all just pulling up the mugshot on the fucking phone and laughing their brains out right now. Like, actually, I love that from AJ when they had their little confrontation and Miller was backing at him again, calling him pussy, and he was like, "Remember, you blew fucking 7 million. You blew 7 million." It was fucking brilliant. It's just always remember you blew 7 million. Brilliant.
Cosmo's landlord. It's good.
Yeah, you're $7 million poorer than you should be, and you're fat. Shut the fuck up.
Well said, Matty.
Maybe Big Baby will get in the fucking Nutters fucking group and turn his life around.
Yeah, he might do, exactly.
I mean, you don't remember Gerald Miller's Instagram post right after Ruiz knocked him out? And he's just sitting there silently with the eyes rolling back, going, "Oh," you're like, think to yourself, dude, you just fucking blew it, man. That could have been you right there. It could have been you on the night.
It should have been him, and he was in AJ's head. And if AJ obviously shit the bed that night as well and was fucking had stage fright or whatever, it was set up for him. Like, fucking hell.
Well, his life was on the down spiral, but it's on the way up again now because he's the Bellew of the Week winner for episode 554. Congratulations to you, Jarrell Miller. Just a quick one from Michael McElway, who threw in a tenner earlier in the solo super chat. Before we get out of here, Rob, is there anything you want to say about the weekend's action? Maybe about poor old Ohara?
I just found it. I was actually fucking delighted for Barroso, actually, because the way they robbed him against the masterful Rolly, who clearly fucking showed the world how good he was, as Dave Lee said. It just goes to show you how fucking good Rolly is if he easily beat Barroso like that. But I was brilliant to see him. Like, he's fucking, what age is he? Like, he's fucking 78 or something. Like, he's down on his knees like that celebrating. Like, he's older than he says he is anyway. and talk. I think him and Luke Littler are fucking in the same kind of stables. You get me? But I thought that was tremendous.
He was the model for the heads on Easter Island.
Luke Littler's going to be injecting Barroso's blood into him to try
Vergil Ortiz makes me excited for the future of the welterweight division when Crawford leaves the sport. Like, I think he's fucking, he's a thunderous puncher, like, and his technique is fucking brilliant, and he just keeps the KO streak going. But obviously the stoppage is a joke. I mean, he was going to stop the guy. There's no doubt about that. Like, he was definitely going to get to him and fucking bang him out of there. But Tony Weeks was like, all right, man, let the fucking fight happen, will you? Like, Jesus. But yeah, that was good. We're also having his moment. I mean, Ohara Davis is like, what can you do in that situation with him? I mean, he fell for the fucking, like, he is a poor fighter, like, and he actually improved a lot over the years. So I don't want to kind of take too much away from Eddie. Fucking ditched him. He did really, really well to get himself back into a world title position. He won that golden contract and all that. Like, and he was there on merit. It just fucking, it's just levels, man. He never had it that way. Like, he could punch a little bit, but his skill set is not there. And Barroso just fucking lined him up, by the way. If you look at the knockout, like, he threw kind of two really, 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 really slow throw away fucking southpaw feints, and then came right across with the left hook after Ohara reached, like, and that was the fucking end of the fight. They could have rolled it off there. If Tony Weeks had fucking been reffing that one, he might have saved him from, because he was saying, the ref was like, do you want to continue? And Ohara Davis was like, like, there was not the fucking, he was looking at the floor and all, like, what do you mean do you want to continue? We can't even fucking see. Like, he should have pulled him. The ref there was a bit of a disgrace. He should have pulled him out after the first knockdown. That was too heavy, like, to come back from. And then obviously it was, but yeah, I don't want to fucking spend too much time. I'm sure he's a fucking trashed it out there, but yeah, entertaining start to the year, let's say. And Big Baby keeping us going on a fucking absolute blinder, doing an absolute blinder to ring in 2024. Big Baby Repo Miller. Fuck me, the Repo Man.
The Repo Man. Absolutely. Right. That is where we shall leave it for 554. Thank you to everybody who's been in the chat, everybody on the panel as well. We've had Rob there, we've had Andy, Joe Kennedy's joined us, Matty DJ Leonardo, and Des was on earlier. Matty will be in the hot seat next week for episode 555. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, or you can do none of them things actually if you want. You can join us next week though on YouTube. I've been Steve Wellings. We'll catch you all again, same time, same place next week, and bye.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to and move! We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7-year aim. 7-year aim. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing sounds, as simple as that.
Sports Social Podcast Network.